Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind, a collection of advanced self-help quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand it, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine. Helping us to, in reference to yesterday's video, helping us to maybe shrink the amygdala. So people say shrink yourself, meaning analyze yourself, understand yourself, analyze yourself. Some people say, well, shrink your inflation, shrink your narcissism, or shrink your grandiosity or something. Usually it just means analyze yourself, shrink yourself. Shrinker man, wise me up if you can, sings Katie Lee in her song called Shrinker Man. But yesterday we played a film, it's on YouTube, called Bob and His Enlarged Amygdala. It's a wacky, very wacky kind of comedy, tongue-in-cheek, I guess, or exaggerated. The people making the film, you know, we're trying to present a very difficult message. So they were making fun of themselves, trying to make fun, to make a comedy. So they were making their comedy film comedic to somehow allow the message to get through. What message? The message is that maybe it seems that there may be a link between an enlarged amygdala and prejudice. So Bob had a lot of prejudice. He was typically your garden variety bigot kind of thing. So they put him on a brain scan, and his amygdala was enlarged. So they're trying to make the case that when the baby's traumatized, the amygdala gets enlarged, and that means the person is going to project very easily. The threshold, the fear threshold is very low, and the memory of the trauma is going to fly out. So in other words, if the baby had a very painful time with the mother, okay, during the time when the mother's not there for the baby, okay, the mother's like an alien, a monster, a sea monster. The mother's not that, but the baby thinks that because his rage is put into picture form in his mind, and like in a sort of paranoidish manner, he projects that picture of his rage onto the mother, thinks the mother's so dangerous like that. So the baby needs everything to be familiar, to be one with him, to be fused with him, very comfortable and smooth and safety like that. Okay, now, when the mother misses it, baby's enraged. The picture of his rage is the guy with the horns or something, and then he thinks the mother's like that picture. That's a stamp or a template or kaplunk, you know, like a deep imprint, sort of seared in the brain somehow like that. Meaning later on, okay, if something isn't familiar for a person, if something isn't comfortable for the person, i.e. unknown, very simple, it can even be something like that. It clicks up the original imagery and fantasies in the brain of a picture of their own rage, of what happened when mother was not meeting their needs and how he felt by it. That picture, he flares up now, and that part of the brain doesn't know time, so the present triggers that past. Now the person's feeling in the present what he felt in the past but forgot. So he transfers the emotion of the past to the present. That's called transference. Okay, so Bob would see somebody he's not familiar with, let's say, different language, culture, whatever. And so instantly, that would trigger the immense fear and rage he had with his mother, and had a picture like that, where in the babyhood time, it is a matter of heaven and hell for the baby. The baby needs the oneness of the mother. If the mother's not providing that blissful oneness, the baby thinks she's in hell. Baby can't do ambivalence. Baby can't do confusion. Baby can't do understanding. Baby can't look for the third side of the coin. Baby can't say, oh, mother's busy, everything will be okay. Baby can't do anything like that. So whenever the mother is misattuned, okay, he's going to be enraged, and that's the picture will be like that. And he projects that picture onto the mother, says the mother's the devouring monster that wants to eat him. A boar queen, a cyclops, an alien, okay, all these scary images like that. So that's an imprint like that. That's a template, a working model kind of thing. So that means later on, okay, when a person sees something that's not familiar to them, let's say, okay, that's going to bring up. It's a catalyst. It brings up the past. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, I just haven't played that song in a long time. Very famous singer from Pakistan from a while ago, Nusrat. Here it is here. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. A song called Nothing Without You. So we recently played his most. So we now have 3 songs by this famous singer. The language is Urdu, by the way, from Pakistan. He's a beloved singer over there, and he passed away. I'm not sure exactly when, but one of his lost CDs was on a shelf somewhere, and some Gilligan kind of person found it. Hey, what's this? And it turns out to be an excellent album called Chain of Light. It's a 40-minute CD in 4 parts, and we played part 1 earlier. That's an excellent CD. Some people think that's one of his best CDs. He put out hundreds and hundreds of CDs in his lifetime. I've seen the comments section where people say, I think that's his best CD, called Chain of Light. So we played part 1 of that, and this is an earlier one of his called Nothing Without You. Yeah, I just in our soundtrack we have songs from all around the world, lots of classic rock and folk songs, and I'm trying to get songs from all around the world, all languages. A lot of songs by indigenous singers, Ely Sappy, Beatrice Deer, Willie Dan, Willie Mitchell, you know, Eastern Owl, and the Cashton Band, Brian Andre, you know, so on and so forth. And then Robbie Romero, there's one in there. And we posted in yesterday's video. Two videos ago, we posted 2 songs from Brazil. Kelly Rizdick's cover of Kansas's "Carry On Wayward Son," and then another song from Brazil called oh boy, what's it called again? Cabruera. The band is called Cabruera. Pisa Morena, yeah, I think that's it. Pia or Pisa, one of those, and then Morena or Moreno, something like that. That's a fun kind of song, upbeat kind of song. A lot of songs from Turkey on our soundtrack. Devram Kaya and Sertab Erener and that Turkish Groove CD. We got Zaz on there from France. A lot of songs from German singers, in particular Ketja Epstein. At the end of yesterday's video, in the photo booth, I closed up with our theme song, Ketja Epstein's German cover of Windmills. A few songs from Africa and South America. I'm trying to get songs from all around the world. You name it. I want to get every language. I want to get every genre. A little bit of opera. I want to get more opera in. We've got Elizabeth Gruner's cover of Solveig's song from the Peer Gynt story. Solveig's song by Elizabeth Gruner, an old opera singer from Germany. That's my favorite version of it. I think we got 3 songs from the Glee cast, from the Glee show, you know, and we got so a few, of course, some rock songs, of course, a fair bit of rock songs. Yeah, I opened up yesterday's video with Rick Santos' song called "The Rapper," a live bootleg live one about the Don Juan syndrome. Most of the songs do have some kind of link to a psychological message. Like when we talk about transference love, we played the Doobie Brothers' song "What a Fool Believes." Katie Lee provides many psychologically minded songs. Shrinker Man, It Must Be Something Psychological, Properly Loved, etc. And I could spend hours talking about the soundtrack. It's an incredible soundtrack. So included in the soundtrack, we have 3 songs by Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Is that right? Yeah. And this is one of them called "Nothing Without You." We could talk about that title, man. My goodness. If a man says that about a woman, well, that's for him to feel, you know, maybe that the baby would be nothing without a mother. So he might have a full-blown transference onto the woman. I mean, he's exaggerating and all that, but maybe, but we can bore that lyric for a minute. You know, if a person has a girlfriend and she's about to leave or something, and he says something like that, like, whoa, that can be that kind of feeling. That's for you to know how you felt originally with that mother, but forgot, and you chose a woman who will leave you so you can know that your mother left you. If your mother abandoned you in the beginning, you don't remember that kind of stuff. So you go through life looking for someone like your mother to repeat it so you can bring up the feeling and now know and now feel what you couldn't have felt back then. So we reenact to try to remember. We don't remember, so we repeat, reenact, act out, symbolically act. They're trying to create, manufacture so we can then feel now what we couldn't have felt back then, because the baby couldn't feel it, but now we're older, so we create it, try to bring up the feeling, and now emotionally know, emotionally process, assimilate, accept, digest, understand. Oh my God, I get it now. I finally get it now. I have memory and feeling. I get it now. And when you do that, then it's kind of considered metabolized, assimilated, processed. Then you can kind of the past can be captured, given a time and a place. Lowell calls it laying the ghost to rest. And then your life force is free for the present. Now you can enjoy the present, kind of thing. But so to love life in the present, if there's too much pain in the past, it's considered unresolved. It's too unfinished business with the mother, too much pain with the mother. You're afraid to live in the present. Okay, enter the film, the Greenberg film. The shrink said to the guy, Greenberg, Mr. Greenberg, you have real trouble living in the present. So you linger in the past, you dwell in the past, you live in the past because you feel like you never really lived it. Okay, so he couldn't process it. The child couldn't process that past. The child couldn't even know it. He fragmented the event of the trauma and put it in a separate psychic bin. The emotions of that trauma, put that in a separate psychic bin. Doesn't want to kind of know it, doesn't want to link it. Then he feels disembodied by that. Okay, that imagery is the Wizard of Oz. Okay, the Tin Man, the loss of the feelings. The Scarecrow can't know it because no brain. It's unthought known, it's known, but we can't think it because the Scarecrow is no brain. And the Scarecrow and the Tin Man being like that means person's going to feel disembodied. It's a cowardly line one. Dorothy's a part of the psyche, part of the system, is trying to line things up. Mind, heart, body, line it up like that. So that's what we do at midlife, try to line it up like that. I'm back in the park here, yeah. I have mixed feelings coming out here. It's nice when it's quiet. Sometimes there's a lot of interruptions and things. Let's see how it goes here today. So we were just talking about the soundtrack a little bit. But I want to go back to pick up on yesterday's topic. So yesterday, there's a video on YouTube called Bob and His Enlarged Amygdala. Okay. And in a very wacky kind of tongue-in-cheek or a little frivolous or a little annoying sometimes, a little exaggerated. I guess they were trying to like emphasize the comedy as much as they can to somehow slip through the message. So if they can make it as comedic as they can, and then make comedy about their comedy, and I guess he was just trying to tackle something that's very difficult. It's hard to kind of communicate this idea about the amygdala. Maybe the scientists know about it, but the general public doesn't seem to know about it. There's a guy who wrote a book about it a little bit now, and he's not a singer, but him and his buddies created a band called the Amygdaloids, and they tried to create some songs because they weren't real musicians and the lyrics wasn't even that good. It didn't go anywhere, but they were really trying to bring it to the public, the idea of the message of the amygdala, this almond-shaped part of the brain that's responsible for the stress response, fear response, anger response, stress response, okay, the fear, flight, freeze, fight response in the brain, where because that brain just cares about survival. So you're gonna run, you're gonna play dead, possum, deer in the headlights, or you're gonna fight with the animal, that part of the brain, that ancient, old, archaic part of the brain. It's a tiny little thing in the brain. It's shaped like an almond, and called the amygdala. And I closed up yesterday's video. Well, let's have a professional band. Let's call them the Amygdalas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the stage. Give a warm welcome to the Amygdalas. Send a little love to the to the Amygdalas. So you have the band come on. There might be a big screen about the amygdala. Might be like the band's logo or something. They might have T-shirts or I don't know, just to build awareness about the amygdala. So that didn't go too well, that band called the Amygdaloids, but maybe we can update it with the new band called the Amygdalas. And then so the second attempt to make it public, I think, was this little indie film. It's just a home budget indie film. It never entered any kind of festivals. No festivals will take it. Can you believe it? No international film festivals, not one would accept it. Can you believe it? Not one international film festival would accept that film. Can you believe it? It's basically, they kind of banned it basically. And then no one would even, he'd have a hard time putting it on. It got to the point where he didn't put it on DVD. There's only one copy of it on that producer's personal channel. And so that's the only one copy of it that I can tell. There's only one little write-up about the film in some little local small town magazine entertainment section, just a little blurb about it. And they interviewed him, and so we got a little information from him in that interview there. That's about it. Now in the comments section, I read the comments section on YouTube. There's a very good one, the third one down, it's a very good one about, I thought that was an excellent review, and that's the only review of that film that I can find in the comments section on YouTube for Bob and his enlarged amygdala. And I'm currently trying to explore and trying to synthesize and bring together the psychodynamics of projection, okay, your mother and all that stuff, the other's the mother, and this issue of the threshold, the fear threshold by the amygdala. So first of all, the amygdala is a Greek word which translates as almond. So I'm not sure exactly what they say in Greece. How do they describe the difference between an actual almond, like from an almond tree, the nuts, right, versus this part of the brain that's shaped like an almond? I'm not sure how they say it, but anyways, amygdala means almond. So in the English language, we just kept the amygdala. We don't say the almond-shaped part of your brain. this thing in your brain that's shaped like an almond. We don't say like, we just simply say amygdala. So now the theory is, now I don't know if this is just a way of describing trauma to the amygdala, or a way to emphasize the overstimulation or disturbance of the amygdala. So they would say it's enlarged, and maybe it is actually physically enlarged. And I did see one reference to it saying, yes, it does enlarge. So in the comedy film, the amygdala, it looked like it was enlarged. It looked like a small carrot or something like that. It wasn't large. It didn't look like an almond. It was much bigger than an almond, obviously. So he said this, and they showed it to you on the camera, that this came from the brain of a passed away politician, of a prejudiced politician kind of. It came from him. that's what I'm getting with the comedy, right? So maybe let me run through parts of it, and I'll try to explain it. So let's just describe the film a little bit. I need to play it again because the audio isn't too clear. I need to bring a good speaker in. The audio isn't too well. If you watch it on YouTube, the audio is okay, but when I played it back on my budget phone, I played it back on this sort of phone like this, but it didn't really come through too well. So next time I'm in a nice, closed, quiet room, I'll try to bring in another speaker and try it again. Because I want to preserve and make sure there's a backup copy of this, just in case that guy's channel goes away or something. But that's like it's like the comment section, it's a gem. It kind of is a gem in a way. It's a gem of a film. I agree with him. You might try not to focus on the trees. Look at the forest. Look at the broader spirit of the film, and don't get bogged down by some specific little jokes they made. Because then you'd miss it, right? If you just, So okay, so the film starts off with so there's now they don't show you the analytic process to shrink the amygdala, or to heal the amygdala, or soothe the amygdala, or make the amygdala normal or calm, reduce the fear threshold, get it to a normal kind of place. You're not meant to live your 24/7 with an inflared, hyper bubbling, bursting amygdala. Every little thing sets you off kind of thing. We're not meant to kind of always have an inflared amygdala like that. So they just they kind of skip that part really. But so ideally, the healing of the amygdala, the healing of the brain, let's say, would be the mourning process. Okay, to resume psychological development via the mourning process. Because if you're not mourning, you're in a lot of stress, and that stress is pumping up the amygdala and maybe physically enlarging the amygdala. So you want to reduce that stress in the brain. So you only do that through understanding, forgiveness, recognizing the story, narrative medicine, so interpretations, insights, clarity, understanding, empathy, recognition, broader recognition. And then if you can get to a place where you can understand what happened in terms of arrested development, stunted development, the needs that were unmet, and how things got frozen, and there's a fear like that. If you can kind of piece together this narrative like that, it may naturally kind of calm down. And the calming down is done by the mourning. So ironically, the weeping in the morning will calm it down, I guess, because you're gonna. Because when you mourn, that means you feel safe. When you feel safe, you mourn. If you can't mourn, you don't feel safe. That's why there's so much stress, and the amygdala is too enlarged, and you never feel safe. So if you feel safe, then you mourn. Now, this idea of safety, that's narrative medicine. So that's why we have insights and theories and quotes and parables and interpretations and object relations theory, developmental theory. Karen Horney, James F. Masterson. All the quotes that we have in our collection are to that end. It's called building a basket, like a holding container to make you feel safe. Building a nest kind of thing. Building the Jane mind, building a both and mind, building an ego, a reasonable ego, an adult ego, a central ego. Okay, so that keeps you in the conscious. That's only done when you see the two sides of the situation to resolve the splitting defense that's related to trauma. And the trauma is that the baby thinks he's always in danger, so he does psychic splitting. Mother is hurting me? No. And I'm angry? No. Separate bin, psychic splitting. Mother's a goddess and I'm safe. That's unrealistic, but that's your connection to the mother. Then you feel important, maintaining that, to keep the tie with the mother. Then you might imitate her in a thing called the Faustian deal. This is all stressful stuff. And I guess in the process of all this, the amygdala is just getting enlarged because the brain's pumping cortisol and adrenaline. Go, run, fight, flee, whatever. Mother's dangerous. Fight with the mother. Mother's hurting you. Control the mother. So the brain keeps sending you this kind of thing. So in order for the brain to send cortisol, maybe the system does enlarge the amygdala to send more cortisol. I'm not really sure about the mechanics of it all. I would love to interview Louis Cozzolino. I think he's one author that tried to bring neuroscience to the public. If you're out there listening, get in touch with me. I'll interview you and ask you to clarify this thing about the amygdala. Okay, let me check back through his book, see if I can find it. Maybe I'll find him. I doubt he's watching. Or if there's any expert about the amygdala out there, please, I will politely and gently interview you and let you shine and share your knowledge of with the amygdala. Okay, so let's start off with the cat scene. So the film opens up with a woman with a traumatized cat, and the cat has an enlarged amygdala. The cat's enraged, the cat's traumatized, the cat's biting things and eating the wires and things, and even the cat even chewed the woman's brakes, the brake cables, and she drove the car and had an accident because the cat chewed the brake cables or something like that. So this cat was wild, he was angry, he was destructive like that. So the doctor said, well, you can take your cat with the enlarged amygdala to this clinic that'll reduce, they have a special procedure and they'll reduce your cat's amygdala. So it starts off with a silly thing like that. Okay, now, but it's so, and then the next client was Mr. Bob. So they did a scan on his brain. They said, yeah, his amygdala is way too large, and then interviewed him, tried to talk to him, and the wife brought him in like this. And it turned out he had a really extremist, fanatical, paranoid kind of views about people. It was affecting the family's life. His own son was dating a pretty girl from another place. He freaked out. He went berserk. You know, the nurse had a shade of brown tone of skin. He freaked out. He went berserk. So he has an irrational triggering effect where he lives in the present what he felt with his mother when the mother wasn't there. Now, when the mother's not there for the baby, i.e. when the mother doesn't meet the baby's needs, provide soothing, recognition, oneness, blissful safety, when that's missing, okay, the baby thinks he's a goner. He's terrorized. He's immense fear. Mother's a monster. He projects a picture of his rage. The monster is a picture of his rage, code for his rage. Takes that picture, puts it on to mother, says the mother is the picture. The picture's not real. The picture's code for the rage. He takes the picture of the rage. Okay, in the baby's brain, it's imaginal, it's pre-verbal, it's pictorial, imaginal, myths and fairy tales, dream world. So it's not real, it's with them. So whatever scary entity the picture is, it's a visual representation of how he felt with the mother, where the baby was enraged at the mother not meeting his needs, double binding him, gaslighting him, shaming him, rejecting him, thinking the baby's supposed to take care of her, he can't do it, he's enraged. Maybe the mother blames the baby. Whatever's going on with the mother, the baby's going to be enraged like this. So there's a picture of a scary entity in his mind. Take your pick: sea monster, alien, the boar queen, guy with the horns. Okay, in folklore and literature and myths and fairy tales, there's tens of thousands of versions of this. All you got to do is take a picture. All you got to do is take a piece of paper, draw something that's angry and wants to gobble you up. Everyone's gonna have something different. Everyone's gonna have something different. So it's infinite like that. That's just a representation of how you feel and your unmet needs. Baby had a need to feel safe, to take in, absorb, interject, internalize, incorporate the experience of the mother. Emotional feelings. Okay, he needs to wire in positive memories. He needs to incorporate and wire in positive memories, not just about feeding to physical survival. He needs like an emotional memory where he can treat himself the way his mother treated him. So he's in the so-called oral phase, taking in these kind of things, not just milk, taking in the experience, the memories of the mother, and he wants to take that in kind of thing. Now, that's a normal need. Babies need a loving mother like that, a good enough mother, the quote-unquote good breast experience, or the holding, soothing, interject experience, like that. A facilitating environment, good enough environment, validating environment, contained environment. They got all these terms. Different people have different terms for this kind of, to describe the quality of the interaction between the baby and the mother, where the mother functions as a self-object for the baby, a symbiotic object for the baby. It is all about the baby. The baby is center stage. The baby is entitled. It is all about the baby. The baby is a little king and a god, and the environment feeds, soothes, meets his needs accordingly. So it is all one way like that. The baby is a king. He is entitled, and he needs to be fed in and nourished in, and have rhythm of safety, mother sweetness, tenderness, warmth, affection, kindness, recognition, understanding. And if the mother recognizes and thinks about the baby, he can think about himself. If the mother has empathy for the baby, he'll have empathy for himself. Mother has an acceptance of the baby. He picks it up and has an acceptance of himself. He needs to wire in this kind of stuff. This is all kind of in like that. So it's oral, they say. Psychologically oral and physically oral. Right? Now, that's a need. Now, when needs are not met, okay, the feeling self freezes up, okay, flash frozen. The life force goes to the limbic, the amygdala area. So you got the feeling mind and you got the survival mind. You got the two basic minds, the progressive mind, in the film they call it progressive regressive. So you got the feeling mind, okay, the embodiment, the sense of self, the beingness, at home within quality, okay, you're at home within, you feel warm and alive, you feel embodied, you feel connected to yourself. That's the feeling mind, the golden ball area. Okay, and you have an individuation, you have an identity, you have self-agency, you feel comfortable with them, the serene, inexhaustible fullness of being, the beingness, right? So if all that beingness gets frozen, like flash frozen, like Snow White in a coffin in a box, or sometimes it's locked away in a tower like Rapunzel. Sometimes it turns to stone, turns to wood, turns to ice. Sometimes the earth opens up, his cord gets pulled out. Sometimes the feminine quality. Sometimes this beingness is called the feminine element. The feminine turns to princess. Sometimes the princess morphs into a bird and flies away, or morphs into an animal, runs away. The fox runs away, or the bird flies away. So now it's kind of really gone like that. But so there's an associated image with all this is the pin goes on a collar. Under the collar, the jargon is flat affect. So the feelings, the goal, it's flat affect. Okay, so your emotions are kind of flat, numb, deadened. It's not dead, it's deadened. It's just numb, basically. Okay, so if the feelings are like a statue, nothing flows. If you're born to feel like a real rabbit, now you feel like the velveteen stuffed rabbit. That's the trauma like that. So the pin goes on the collar, and you feel flat under that. The old jargon for this, another Greek term is athimoalexia. Athimoalexia, no feelings for your words. Okay, a variation is alexithymia, no words for your feelings. Another variation is in one version of the Snow White being in a glass coffin. In one version, there's a version where she's awake in the glass coffin, and meaning she can see through the glass, so she understands the world, she can see things, but she can't feel into the world. So that means the translation means we can function in the world. She can recognize, she can drive a car, pay the bills, do things in the world, but she's not feeling. And if you talk to a person like that, they say, well, nice talking to you, but I feel like there's no emotional connection here. I don't feel that there's any kind of emotional touching here. There's like, where are you? Like, you feel vacant and distant or something. Oh yeah, I can talk to you, but there's something really missing here. So that's maybe one way of thinking about it. So we live to the extent that we feel. We live to the extent that we feel a body, this beingness quality. This is the meaning of life and the joy of life. Joy runs the console from there. And the ability to mourn comes from there. And if there's a loss, sadness runs the console. Although the joy for which you praise 100 tears away, because you have your beingness, sadness can run the console. You can admit a loss, and then joy comes back. But you need the beingness to mourn. I mourn. There's got to be an I there. The beingness is the I, the authentic I. So if this, so the baby has this quote-unquote emerging self, or budding beauty, emerging self. It's not synonymous, right? Symbolized by the fairy tale princesses. Okay, so the child has this beingness quality. Okay, it's not fully blossomed. It's just budding. It's there, kind of at birth, kind of him. But at birth, there might be a betrayal. Cords removed, placentas removed, mother's not around. Okay, it's all betrayal trauma, birth trauma. Okay, relational trauma, developmental trauma, attachment trauma, strain trauma. There's something's off here with the mother, where she betrays the baby because she was betrayed. Baby said to the mother, after all we've been through, you're going to betray me? Well, she doesn't remember that she was betrayed. When a person doesn't remember, the theories they repeat. If she can remember that she was betrayed by her mother and feel it, she won't betray the baby. But she doesn't remember, so she recreates it. So the baby's her. She becomes the betraying mother and replays what happened to her. So she betrays her baby because she was betrayed, because she's replaying that past where her own baby plays her and she plays the betraying mother. So that's the thing called repetition compulsion. When there's trauma, we repeat with the grand fantasy of changing the past, undoing the past. But so she repeats it. So she betrays her own baby, thinking the baby's her. But the baby's not her. So how does that work? Why is she doing it? Well, okay, then she's trying to remember that she was betrayed so she can mourn that she was betrayed and get her feelings back, and the pin pops out and she can feel alive. Snow White comes back, Rapunzel comes back, okay, the bird comes back, princess comes back in your beingness, okay, and so on. Echo comes back and you feel embodied, you have your beingness, you're real and alive, you can enjoy the present. What's that? It's going to take me a few goes at this to figure out how to blend this issue with the amygdala and prejudice, because that's the message of the film, that there's a link between prejudice and EAS, enlarged amygdala syndrome. It's a made-up term in the film. Take the word sea, S-E-A, right? The sea. By the sea, oh how happy we will be. Marilyn Monroe and Some Like It Hot, right? The sea. The boat on. Take the word sea, just take the S and move it to the back. Now I got EAS. EAS. That's maybe one way to remember it. EAS. Enlarged amygdala syndrome. Enlarged amygdala syndrome. Whether it's metaphorical or actually the case, it's close enough. It's ballparkish for the time being, right? So they don't show you the analytic process of talking cure therapy. So instead, they cut that out and just filled in some filler thing, some imaginary procedure that can be done on the brain. They call the rainbow treatment. That was just a silly little filler kind of thing. There's no way they can summarize the analytic process in a short time. Even the film, The Three Faces of Eve, didn't show you the analytic process. Miss Eve there went for therapy for 3 years. They didn't even show you anything. They just showed you this pompous guy chomping on a cigar all the time, saying that's Mr. Freud, that was it. And then she was healed. So they, even in the film, in a 2-hour film, they didn't show you the analytic process. They just showed you the cigar guy, thinking that's Freud, Mr. Freud or something. So just quickly about The Three Faces of Eve. You see, that woman started off as either Eve White or Eve Black. That's code for psychic splitting. When there's psychic splitting, that's a severe trauma for the baby to engage in psychic splitting. Mother's a monster. No, mother's a demon. Mother's a goddess. Like, whoa, what a desperate splitting. Mother's a human, and that's it. There's one woman. She's one person, and she's not perfect. She meets your needs sometimes. Sometimes she's confused. She can't meet your needs, but still one person. Can't you? I can't accept that. No, she's a monster or a goddess. The baby has to have. It is paradise. It is heaven or hell for the baby in the beginning. That's why it's like that. So when things go wrong, the baby does psychic splitting. So in the film, The Three Faces of Eve, she starts off in those two, Eve White, Eve Black, right? Okay, so she's, and then she goes to therapy. So that means she's like either going to be the frightened, depressed child, or she makes the Faustian pact, okay, and becomes the aggressor. Now she's the scary, critical, controlling, who cares, critical person, exploits and all that. So she's either the frightened child one or the critical parent one and the Faustian Barga one, where she represses her own inner child, sees it onto others, and shames them to repress it within. Then flip-flop, plays herself angered, the one she just shamed. That's the dangerous one, Eve Black, right? The more benign one is just the wounded child one who plays themselves. So Eve White is kind of like that. And if this trauma is more severe, then you click, you cope with it by identifying with the aggressor. So then the person becomes the mother who shamed them, so they shame themselves. To have a mother, they got to shame themselves. Now, when you shame yourself, you can't feel it. That's called repression. When something's repressed, you project onto others. Now, others are playing you. Now, you replay what happened to you. Since others you shame them. Okay? And then flip-flop, you play yourself, and you see the one you just shamed as your mother who hurt you, and now you're playing yourself, angered the one you just shamed. That's the wild, dangerous one, right? So this is still all unconscious. Eve White, Eve Black, psychic splitting, trauma. The more benign side is the Eve White one, and the more hurtful side is the Eve Black one. So that's all unconscious. So if a person is living from frozen child, freezing parent terminology, they're living in the past. They're not in the present. You're not in the present when you're doing either or like this. You're just repeating all the time the trauma. So trauma leads to psychic splitting. That's jungle slogans, adversarial slogan, either or. That's why it's called Eve White or Eve Black. It's the either or thinking, adversarial thinking, oppositional thinking, my greed or your greed thinking. Because the baby's coming, that comes from the place where the mother's got to be goddess. The mother's not a goddess, she's a demon, like that. So it's coming from that kind of place, mother into self like that. So that's why she needed therapy, right? So she went to therapy for 3 years, and then the splits disappeared, and her new sense of self called Jane came on the scene. Jane was the both and mind. When you understand the situation, get the story, you no longer need to preserve that old way of thinking, because you're not in the nursery. You survived that trauma. You're a trauma survivor. You're not in the nursery. You realize you're not in the nursery. Mourn and recognize what happened in the nursery by making inferences of free association, dream interpretation. You kind of piece it together and mourn that you didn't have the loving mother. Admit that you didn't have a loving mother. You gotta admit that you didn't have a loving mother. You gotta say to yourself, oh my God, my mother couldn't love me. She was trapped in the mirror. She couldn't mirror me because she was busy trapped in the mirror. Like in Snow White, kid comes on the scene, needs to be mirrored. Where's the mother? She's trapped in her mirror with her mother. So she doesn't mirror the child. So when you engage in the mourning process, the Eve White, Eve Black poofed away, and a new sense of self came on the scene called Jane. Now, when this woman in the film became Jane, there was no Eve White or Eve Black anymore. So the three faces of Eve, okay, the healthy face is called Jane, and the traumatized earlier is Eve White, Eve Black, representing psychic splitting due to trauma. And when she became Jane, the daughter said, Mother, I love it when you're Jane. I love it when you're Jane. I can be myself. I can relax. I can play. I can learn. I really love it. Mother, please be Jane. Please be the healthy adult, the mature adult. I feel good like this. Come on, Mother, please be Jane. Stay as Jane. Don't go back to Eve White, because when you were Eve White, you were so gloomy. And when you were Eve Black, oh my God, you terrorized me. Please be Jane. Please be a healthy, normal, regular, good enough mother. Please be Jane. Stay. So sure enough, she was Jane, and then the daughter came back, met a new fellow, and they rode off into the sunset and lived happily ever after. But we don't see how she resolved psychic splitting. In the Disney film Inside Out 2, you also don't really see it, but you see the conclusion of the film where Riley, the cartoon character Riley, was facing this either-or kind of thing. Is she guilty? Is she okay? Is she allowed a modicum of happiness, or is she not allowed a modicum of happiness? Can she express herself, or is she not allowed to express? And she had this kind of either-or confusion all the time. You saw the group hug scene. Okay, that's like holding the both sides. When you can hold the both sides, search for both sides, contain both sides, that's searching for the third side of the coin. When you hold the third side of the coin, Woodman calls it holding the tension of the opposites or something. When you get the third side of the coin, called both and thinking, or the Jane mind, the both and thinking, when you get both and thinking, a new sense of self appear, and the previous senses of selves, okay, the delusional joy one, and the always no good anxiety one, that disappeared, and she was healthy. Okay, she was embodied, she calmed down, thinks more clearly, was a better team member, and won the scholarship for the hockey team, right? Because the coach said, oh yeah, well, she's reasonable. Okay, she's not going to shame others because others are her. She's not going to coax others to shame her. Everyone's tense like this. No one can think clearly with all the stress. She's embodied, she's calm, she thinks more clearly. You know, that influences the atmosphere. Others will think more clearly. She's a leader like that. Everyone thinks more clearly. They'll be a better team. They'll win. They'll score more points. They'll win the trophy. They gave her a scholarship. One second. Let me just take a short musical break here. Hold on a second. Let me fix my chair here. Jesus, what's going on with my chair? My goodness. How was that? Okay, hold on a sec. Well, here's a song we haven't played in a while by the singer. I don't think we played this in a while. By Eerie, the singer Eerie from an album of hers entitled Traveling Love, a very good album called Traveling Love. So here's one of the songs on it. Lead Me On, a song. We've got 4 songs from Eerie on that album, Traveling Love. Lead Me On, The Earth Moved, The Love You Gave, and The Beat. So let me just take a 3-minute break here.
Sun ain't shining this morning, leading me more and more wanting, and you, what you gonna do? Saw your name in the paper, made me run back to nature, but I can't hide the truth. I still love you. You gotta wear those shoes. Wear those shoes. And my life don't depend on you, honey, but you still can lead me on. I know I might get stronger sooner or later, but now you give me the blues. I still love you, and my life don't depend on you, honey, but you still can lead me on.
So prejudice is a reflection of the inner state. As above, so below. Okay, let's go back to the film Bob and His Enlarged Amygdala. This wacky comedy. This farcical but informative at the same time comedy. So we see Bob being interviewed by the doctor and all this, and we see his various displays of extreme bigotry, what we would now label as bigotry and ignorance and typical things like that. Okay, so the son was dating a girl from another place and all that. The nurse appeared and she had a shade of brown tone of skin, and in both cases he went berserk, right? So this is a reflection of what? This is a reflection of what? Melanin. So everyone is a shade of beige or shade of brown tone of skin. No one has white or black skin, right? So there's a chemical called melanin which affects the tone of the skin, leaning towards a shade of beige end or leaning towards a shade of brown end. There's no white or black ends. No one has white or black skin. We're all human beings with a shade of beige to a shade of brown tone of skin. And Jane Elliott argues that since you're dealing with melanin, the same thing, and the melanin ranges from 1 to 6 or something, and if you lose the melanin, you lose your tan kind of thing. Well, technically speaking, she argues that since you're talking about melanin, a shade of beige is actually a shade of brown. You know, so she argues like that. Now, someone coming from another geography or something with different food and language and things, well, that's just so what? If you're in a place over time, people might pick up cultural food habits based on the availability of the food around, and you might have rituals and festivals around that. And everyone develops languages in different locations. So this is just this doesn't change the fact that we're all one Earth family, one human family. There's just trivial biological variations, cultural variations like that. But for him, for Bob, the issue is if someone, if he can't have the fantasy, if he by comparison thinks something is outside of what he's familiar with, okay, that's going to trigger the inside, the template, the seared-in print. So what's the print in Bob's brain with the enlarged amygdala? The print, the inferences. Now, we don't see, unfortunately, they didn't show us the mother. They should have brought in the mother and see her being aggressive and shouting and all that. It should probably be a mother like that. So we'd see why his amygdala was so inflared. But the inference is that Bob, the character, okay, the fictional character, or anybody as a baby. So anybody as a baby, they need a blissful oneness to the mother. And so they're the same, with me or against me, right? Attitude. Okay, so the mother is with the baby's with the mother. They're one. It's a blissful oneness. It's a mother-infant dual unity, a paired unity, participation mystique, unio mystica, one with this big mystery. It's just basically they're all the same. The baby begins off being undifferentiated, symbiotic, fused, undifferentiated, no difference. Boundary, you're me, I'm you, you're me, we're all one, whatever. Okay, so babies begin like that. They need that. They need that for the first 4 to 5 months post-birth. Now, if the mother fails it, okay, whoa, he'll have an emotion, okay, called rage. In the brain, there's a picture of it, a scary picture. He takes that picture and thinks the mother is that picture. But that picture is code for his rage at his mother. That picture is code for his rage at the mother. Now, he can't know the rage, so he flies the picture onto the mother and projects, paranoid projection, that the mother's this dangerous thing. Okay, that's the imprint, stamp, right? So later on, if he's in an area and everyone has the same, they all do the same line dances or go to the same church or whatever, or they do the same, to chant the same things, whatever. So it's kind of familiar like that. So they feel safe, they all one. The fantasy is we could all be one. Each one of us can be each other's mother. Each one of us can be the baby and you're the mother and I'm the baby, you're the mother, you're the mother, I'm the baby. There's a fantasy that everyone can be their mother, that there's a oneness like that. So now if you got someone who by comparison has a different language or any trivial little thing, it can even be like the same skin tone, but maybe from another town or something, town C. Oh, outside, I'm not familiar with you. You're unknown to me. And that might trigger. They can actually be triggered from somebody from a different town, the same county or whatever. That can trigger just something slight that can be a catalyst to trigger up that old fear. Because we're trying to process the old fear. So Bob's trying to process his old fear with the mother. So his irrational, wild anger and fears like that he was talking about, that's for him to get in touch with the fears and anger that he felt with the mother back in the nursery. The outer attitudes and sociological behavior and living behavior, it's a kind of, it reveals and brings up and shows you the template, your model, your blueprint, your traumatic script. You're living life by this stencil, right? You create a stencil and that's how you kind of like think everything in terms of that stencil. But that's how you survive, that's your understanding of yourself, that's your understanding of the world. The mother was the world for the baby, remember that? The mother's the world for the baby. For the baby, the breast mother is the world for the baby, everything, right? So that's a stencil like that. So if the breast mother hurt him, then he thinks the world's not a friendly place, you know? So he splits it, he needs oneness. So he may divide things up. Well, you're one or not. The one with me against me. This mentality, right? Either or thinking. That's your adversarial thinking. Either or thinking. Jungle slogan thinking. Either or like that. Because it's either or is related to jungle sloganism, because the baby thinks he's a goner. If the baby doesn't have a mother, he thinks he's a goner. He's not going to make it. He's going to die, right? He's not going to make it. So he's in a battle. He's a survival issue, right? So the baby does survive with the psychological trickery. but he's cursed with this traumatic template because he's going to go through life with this trickery. But the present isn't the past. The present isn't the nursery. The nurse isn't the mother in his nursery. The son's girlfriend isn't the mother's stuff like that. But things in the present, like the girlfriend, like the son's girlfriend and the nurse, it triggers up what happened to him with his mother in the nursery. So he's meant to make the inference of what happened in the nursery. Okay, so the regressive brain doesn't like, quote unquote, any kind of difference, any kind of someone for a different language, fill in the blank, right? Someone different language, different dress, something that's unknown to you. Like the moment you think, I don't know what it is, whoa, that clicks up that that's not your mother. Now, if you don't have a mother, that clicks up your rage that you thought you were gone with the mother. And you got a picture of that rage, and you assign that picture and superimpose the traits of this unreal picture, this symbolic picture of your own rage. Take the picture traits and say the other person possesses those traits of that picture. The person's so way off, right? That's why prejudice is kind of paranoid, right? And he was quite paranoid. This guy, Bob, was quite paranoid, right? He was over the top paranoid. This nice little college kid that he was saying all these awful things, right? So he passed the test of racism with flying colors. Yeah, all right, man. He even feels proud because he feels important. So he'll take a crumb of narcissism. If he's Jesus Christ. Okay, so did I get a part of it across? So there's the baby template and the adult daily life living. Okay, there's a link between prejudice and the trauma in the babyhood time, which flared up or enlarged the amygdala. Because the amygdala, if it's hypersensitive and hyper alert, you see, that means you're scanning all the time. My mother, where's mother? Where's mother? Where's mother? Something's not my mother. Oh, it flares up. Mother hurt me. I was enraged. Picture. That person is that picture. Code for your rage. Now you have this irrational hatred to someone who looks different. Like the nurse and the student kid, the boyfriend, the son's girlfriend. He has this crazy kind of things like this. The wife on the side is a little reasonable like that. Jesus, Bob, what's wrong with you? Come down to earth here. Well, he's got an enlarged amygdala. They were just saying he's got attachment trauma, he's got relational trauma, developmental trauma, he's got a severe trauma, and trauma does affect the brain, obviously, right? So there's a link between relationship and the brain. You see, maybe another way to think about it is the Howling Man. The Twilight Zone has an episode called The Howling Man. It's a good picture for the dynamic of rebounding aggression. So the baby starts off with this life force from the beingness, from the budding beauty and the emerging self, the authentic identity. From that kind of place that it's there, he needs support for it to blossom and be a part of him and grow with him, not be stunted there, not have that stunted development, arrested development where the freezing takes place, and the rest of him grows up, but the feeling part freezes up. So when he's born, mother, I expect to have a continuation of the blissful oneness with you. I need a paradise with you, a good enough experience with you. So that's the first communication for his budding beauty from the feeling self. So from the feeling self, the energy is in the feeling self. He's normal, he's healthy, that's the normal state of affairs, that he's embodied. All babies are born with the feeling self called embodiment. So the baby's embodied, let's say. Mother, I'm embodied and I want to maintain embodiment. So the communication and the energies for the embodiment, the middle brain, the feeling brain. Okay, whatever old cunning tale with the mother, she squelches it. Okay, not around, misunderstands the signals. She's trapped in her mirror. She resents the idea that she's supposed to give love when she never received it. She doesn't feel that she always thinks everything's got to be about her. It can't be about the baby, because then the mother thinks she has no identity. Her only identity is to make everything about her, so she can't make it about the baby. So now the baby says, oh my God, mother's not meeting my needs. Okay, flash frozen. The feeling self freezes up. the energy, it's kind of blocked. Where does it go now if the soul is frozen? Well, the life force goes back to the amygdala brain. This the limbic system brain, the old brain. Okay, the brain stem, the tip of the spine area, the almond, that kind of old system called the salamander brain, iguana brain, lizard brain, crocodile brain, frog brain. You can nickname that part of the brain any way you want. Different people, some people call this the chameleon brain, some people call it, Janov calls it the salamander, one guy calls it the frog brain. I'm calling it the iguana brain for the time being. Because those creatures, Janov explains, only cares about the instinct to reproduce and survive, to survive and reproduce. There's no warmth or love or family, so it's just kind of primitive like that. Just think of a frog or a lizard or something like that, right? So it's just a nickname for that part of the brain. So now the child's life force, he can't love and be himself. Whoa, that's a serious thing for a child, to not be himself, not have his identity. The Great Spirit gave him an identity. Mother said no. Oh my God. Now he wants to communicate his anger at this. Anger is an expression of unmet needs. Anger is an expression of unmet needs. That's the slogan of Mr. Rosenberg, NBC Language of Life book. So the soul freezes, the energy can't go into the feeling anymore because it's frozen. So it goes back to the iguana brain, the frog brain. Now the child's prana or energy, life force, chi, out of this desire, craving, this push, this energy fills into that amygdala place. Now the almond is probably going to be enlarged by this. So now it's going into the stress response of the amygdala area. So now the baby can't run away from mother. Where's the baby going to go? He can't flee. He's got no motor skills. He can't hop out of the crib and run somewhere else, escape. He can't flee. He can't get his needs met from someone else. He can't call for help. He can't speak. He has no vocabulary. He's passive. He's just lying there, a few days old or something, or just a few minutes old or something. Jesus Christ, he can't go anywhere. He's totally immobile, right? So he can't flee. So now the amygdala says, well, send more stress hormones to fight with the mother, let's say. So now the amygdala is enlarged because it needs to pump out more adrenaline to mobilize the child to fight. But the child can't fight with the mother. The child can't fight. He's got this inexpressible fury. He can't fight with the mother. So the amygdala is getting louder. Oh, come on, fight with the mother. Fight with the flee or fight. Come on, do something. Get away or fight with the mother. Now, embedded in this is the freeze response. He's disassociating, so he's blanking out kind of thing. That's the deer in the headlights thing. But underneath the deer in the headlights, there's probably the stress. The amygdala is still getting enlarged, I guess. So he's trying to run away, or he's trying to fight, or he's spacing out to make himself numb of it all. He's not even aware of it all. Now he's in a trance, he's in a swoon, he's endorphins, the mercy, the pain killing, the numbing thing. But he's still he can't flee anymore, but he can't fight. Now if he's in fight mode, let's say, there's no place to go anymore. He's got to fight with the mother, let's say. Well, that's not going to go anywhere. He's only going to end up with fantasies. He's got the fantasy. Gee, wouldn't it be nice, the baby thinks, wouldn't it be nice that since mother's rejecting and ignoring the signal, mother, I communicated healthily with you in the beginning. You said no. I froze on my soul, diverted my energy to the stress response. Now I'm communicating out of desperation, out of survival, out of panic. I'm enraged, and my rage is a communication. It's a signal. I'm communicating with you, mother. Mother says, oh, leave me alone, baby. Get over it, baby. Grow up. Oh my God, right? Whatever she does, it blocks, right? Now the baby's rage is kind of like within the brain. He enters into delusional fantasies. Now the picture is going to be some kind of devouring, hungry, gobbling up wolf. Now he's got some gobbling fantasy. That's destructive, right? He wants to devour the breast, possess the breast, so he can control the breast, make the breast be stable and loving and feed him. He's desperate. He's in a panic. He thinks he's a goner, so he's trying to control the thing, right? So he's with these fantasies like this. So that's there. The fantasies are there. Now, as the fantasies are there, that can go so far. He can space out so much. Now what? He's still got rebounding aggression. He's still got this rage. Now the rage turns inward. Now that picture, okay, now that picture of the gobbling monster image is going inward like that. That's the howling man image. Now the baby's LIVE reverses back in on itself. That's why it's destructive, hence EVIL. It's destructive. It's the same thing. It's not a separate thing. It's not a separate system. It's the same thing. It just the baby became enraged. It got blocked like a river hitting the bank, and the water reverses back in on itself. Rebounding aggression. The jargon is rebounding aggression. Burglar calls it daimonian energy or something, because Diablos is the image for the rage. So Diablos, so the guy with the horns, the cape, you know, okay, that's just a picture of the fury like that. That's very destructive, like that. So it starts off with the rebounding aggression inward. So in Howling Man, that's when the guy with the horns is in the cell in the castle. So you got the castle, that's like the body. Now in the body, okay, you got your own anger in. So that's why the picture of the anger, Mr. Diablos, the devil guy, right, was locked in a cage. So the devil was in the cell, in the castle, right? So that's code for your own rage of the mother is going in the body. So now you're attacking yourself, kind of thing, and so that'll lead to psychosomatic symptoms, right? Something's going to go kaput inside. So, and the pain of the body going kaput reveals the cry and the scream, but it's concealed because it's within. So psychosomatic symptoms reveal and conceal. The pain of the symptom is still the cry and the rage to the mother. Your pain in the body is your anger at the mother like that. Read John E. Sarno. He's got 4 books on the topic. He's a leader in the psychosomatic body-mind link area. John E. Sarno. He's on YouTube and all that. Yeah. Okay. So originally it's healthy. Babies communicating to the mother. It's relational and healthy. Mother, you ignored my needs. Okay, fine. I'll give you a second chance, mother. I'll freeze my soul and I'll divert my energy to anger mode. So mother, I'm giving you a second chance. I'm going to communicate with my anger that you didn't meet my needs. Could you please at least recognize finally that you didn't meet, and everything will be okay if you can understand this message that I'm angry. Can you get that, mother? Mother says, oh, you're talking, leave me alone, I'm busy. Oh my God, another betrayal, right? There's nowhere else the energy can go. There's no prior brain. There's only survival. There's no other prior place for it to go. So now it's going in on itself. Now he's angry at himself. So it's almost, there's 2 versions here. One, people say you're just simply attacking yourself, your organs, because it's got to go somewhere, like the rushing water or stream water hits a bank and it rebounds in. Some people have a variation where they think that part of it is, or it's a both and situation. Since the baby and the mother are one, he will attack his mother thinking that he's the mother. So he attacks himself trying to attack his mother. So he's attacking himself. But the byproduct is he's attacking his organs. But he thinks the organs is his mother because he didn't differentiate from the mother. That's a variation like that. Anyways, the end result is one of the organs is going to go kaput. The pain of it is that crying the scream. So the original crying the scream was relational. It was overt, it was open, it was 2 people, baby to mother. It went inward, detoured around, took some time. The body held it, the body bared the burden, the body was building up, the organ can only tolerate so much. So that's when the howling man is in the cage like that, or in the cell like that, in the castle. It can only hold so much, right? Now there's a pain like that. That's why he's howling. See, in the howling man, when you hear the howling man in Twilight, it's he's howling. Okay, that's our organ in pain. We're in pain. Okay, we're in pain when our anger at the mother's going into the body and we're howling like that. So the howling man means we're in pain from the symptom. If anyone has a symptom, a backache, okay, that's the howling man within image. So that's within us. We're howling like that, and it's trying to get out. It's trying to get out, right? We don't want to keep hurting. We don't want to keep this hurt within. And the pressure cooker thing. So you want to create excuses to blow off steam. So you want to believe that someone else is your mother and attack your mother, try to control others. So you got maintain some hope that you can gobble up mother finally. So then in the Twilight Zone, the door was open and the howling man escaped. And then he was caught in. He escaped. He was caught in. He escaped. And that was the ongoing dynamic. Okay, so you got the rebounding aggression going inward, That's the howling man in the cell. He's escaped, comes back in. And the head monk in the Twilight Zone said, we gotta face this. Come on, people, let's look at this. Here's a metaphor of your own rebounding aggression going in. The picture's the devil guy, the guy with the cape and all that, the smoke and the cape and all that stuff. The horns and the typical stereotypical image. Yeah, that's not real. It's just a picture of your rage at the mother. The devil is a picture of your rage at the mother. It's code for your rage at the mother. It's just a picture for it, like a piece of artwork. It's not real. It's just artwork. Like you draw it. Like you take a piece of paper and you draw it. It's not real. It's just a drawing kind of thing. The baby draws it in his mind. The baby's an artist. The baby's an artist or something. Something like ballpark, right? Okay. This chair, this. I'm still not used to this kind of chair here. All right, enough about the chair. Let's talk about. let's go back to the Twilight Zone. Okay, what I wanted to get at with the amygdala was that if our rebounding aggression goes in on itself and it attacks an organ, oh, wait a minute. The brain's an organ, right? So our rebounding rage, the whole system's rage, the whole person, the whole organism is in rage, is going to attack something in the body. Well, why not the brain? Why not the amygdala? Now the amygdala isn't flared, just like maybe when the rage goes to an organ, maybe there's damage to the kidney or spleen or some into liver or something. Maybe it does enlarge or damages or changes or morphs or something. Maybe in the case of the brain, maybe it enlarges. Or maybe the amygdala is damaged and we just say it's enlarged just to say it's damaged. Maybe enlarged and damaged are the same kind of thing. I'm not sure why they're specifically saying it's enlarged. I'm not fully sure if it really does technically be enlarged, or they're just saying it's whacked or something. It's enlarged, it's whacked. I'm not sure what's going on with the amygdala exactly. Still got to look into it. But I did see someone say it does literally physically enlarge. So maybe it is the case like that. Okay, so this idea of the fear of the unknown, fear of something you're not familiar with, fear of learning, fear of curiosity, fear of the normal state of affairs in the progressive mind. In the regular mind, you know we're all one family. We're all one earth family. Come on, we're all one family. We're all one hominid. We're all Homo sapiens sapien, that's pretty clear. We all have the same body structure. Our myths and fairy tales are the same all around the world. You can take myths and fairy tales from any place around the world, same stuff, same patterns, same motifs. Fairy tale motifs, mythological motifs are code for psychology trauma. So we all have psychology trauma, psychological trauma. Myths and fairy tales are code for inner trauma. So we're all homotraumicus. So we became traumatized roughly 6,000 years ago. Oh, hold on a second. I get distracted sometimes that people stop and look at me. What's he doing? What's he talking about? And I don't want anyone thinking I'm filming them when they walk in front of me like that. So I gotta, here it is again. Hold on a second. I don't want people to think that I'm filming them, so let me turn the camera around. Maybe I can just take a little. I gotta fix my chair here. Can I play another song? Hold on a sec. Let's choose another song here. Let's just play a short one. How about It Must Be Something Psychological by Katie Lee?
must be something psychological. It may be something very physical that makes me feel the way I do whenever I'm in touch with you. I think it's something strange and mystical. It might be something very chemical. What is this force between us two that makes me gravitate to you? I know you're not my ego ideal, you're unlike my father or brother, but the way I feel does not become a sister, a pal, or a mother. Still, it must be something psychological. It may be something very physical that makes me feel the way I do whenever I'm in touch with you. It's something psychological. You're not my ego ideal, you're unlike my father or brother, but the way I feel does not become a sister, a pal, or a mother. My yearning's really quite explainable. I want you 'cause you're unattainable. Just let me get my hands on you, and then I want somebody new. With me it's psychological.
So that song's about repetition compulsion. She thinks that if she can find a parent copy, quote unquote, somebody with the same psychology like the mother, and fix that person, she can heal the mother in the past. Doesn't make sense. So she's only attracted to narcissistic men because the mother was narcissistic. The pattern seems to be if the firstborn is a girl, the odds are, says Ann Teachworth, that she's going to grow up and marry a man with the same personality as her mother. If the firstborn is a boy, odds are he'll grow up and marry a woman with the same personality as the father. That means your marriage in the present will be a reflection of the inner state called the imprint, the couple imprint. So you recreate in the present a reflection of the imprint. The imprint was the child created an imprint of the parents relating to each other. The child says, all right, when I grow up, I'll recreate that. I'll play one parent, find someone else to play the other parent. So the marriage is going to be a reflection of that template. Now, if there's a problem, if the parents are dysfunctional, then they'll recreate a dysfunctional thing. If the parents are opposites, the marriage will be opposites. If the parents was like attracts like, it'll be like attracts like. The present will be just a kind of a continuation of the imprint, as above, so below. So you want to do some imaginary Gestalt exercise, 3-chair exercise, and imagine yourself playing healthy parents, being healthy parents for yourself. I mean, imagine your parents being healthy, and just practice that in the chair exercise she has, where you play a healthy father, and you play your healthy mother, and you play both parents interacting with each other, and you orchestrate it all in a theater thing, and you do it with different case scenarios. So role play your parents being nice to each other, making I statements, discussing something, discussing a film, making plans, solving a problem, solving a misunderstanding, doing something fun together, just whatever you want, and just keep that as as a physical exercise where you hop between two different chairs, where you play a healthy mother, the one that you wish you had. You play a healthy father, the father you wish you had, and focus on the relationship between the father and the mother, not between you and them. Focus on the relationship between the father and the mother, and you play both. That sets a new kind of thing to refer to in the mind. She calls it like a new precedent in there. So she does it, and then that means her marriage will reflect a healthier imprint. As above, so below. So you need another good below, then you'll have a good above kind of thing. But all she has is the painful below, then the present will reflect that kind of thing. Like Michael Jackson says, you want to heal the outer, start with your inner. Heal the man in the mirror. Let me try one more time with the chair. Jesus, what's going on with the chair? My chair is a little damaged. Sorry about this. Another little delay here. Let's play a short song. I gotta try again to find a way to get this. My chair's lopsided, like it's leaning all the time. It's just Oh, here's a cover of Deli Rizdik's cover of Carry On, Wayward Son. It's just 2 minutes long.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glance beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear they say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are gone. There you weary had to rest. Don't you cry no more. Masquerading as a man with a reason. My charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, well, it sure means that I don't know. On the stormy sea, I'm moving in motion. Toss a bottle like a ship on the ocean. I set a curse for winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. There you weary had to rest. Don't you cry no more. Carry on, you will always remember. Carry on, nothing equals the splendor. Now your life's no longer empty. Surely heaven waits for you. Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. There you weary had to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Okay, let's carry on here then. And she says, and now you no longer feel empty. It's after the therapy process. And now you no longer feel empty because you got your beingness back. Well, that's the opening quote here. Hang on, let's see. Today's batch. Let's read the first one here. We will use the phrase basic fault. This is Mr. Bal, a Hungarian shrink, has the phrase called basic fault, referring to this huge, strange feeling that something's missing. The baby didn't get that blissful time with the mother. This huge abandonment is like a basic fault. It's not like a biological fault. It just feels like some kind of fault with him. It's not a physical thing, it's a feeling. So it's just an approximation. So he says here, okay, let's use this phrase here, basic fault. Let's define it as, or he says, I want to define it as a person being separated from their sense of beingness. That's the basic fault. You're not connected to your beingness. Okay, Earth opens up, his core gets pulled down. You got the chasm, the swoon, a basic fault, like the metaphor of a geological issue, like a fault in the crack in the earth, like that. Earth opens up, geographical. Okay, Ms. Core your beingness gets pulled down. It can't develop anymore. It's buried in the body somewhere, and it can't be with you. So there's like a fault there. Maybe now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm wondering if there's a link there between the Greek myth about Ms. Core. Ms. Core's on the field, meaning she's the princess to symbolize your beingness. Your beingness. Earth opens up, she gets pulled down, like at the chasm. And okay, in the Inside Out film, you see the chasm scene. And the emotion associated with the sarcasm characters, and Ennui was on the surface for it as well. Ennui was expressing the underlying sarcasm, this bitter, angry feeling of losing your beingness. So that chasm feeling of emptiness, where's my beingness, where's my beingness, I got a chasm, I got a hole, I got emptiness, oh my God, where's my beingness, where's my embodiment, where's that feeling of the serene, inexhaustible fullness of being, where's my beingness, oh my God. So there's a basic fault if you don't have your beingness. That's what it means. True transformation happens only through the perception and understanding of this basic fault. So we gotta admit this kind of issue. We gotta admit that there's this basic fault, this abandonment syndrome, this abandonment issue, abandonment depression, abandonment neurosis, abandonment anxiety, this basic fault. Long ago called two-person psychology trauma or two-body psychology trauma, i.e. so-called preoedipal trauma. I don't want to focus on this prior triangle jargon. I did it yesterday. You know what? After this video, check out yesterday's video. I kind of covered this issue of the difference between the phrasing of preoedipal and oedipal. But anyways, the basic fault means preoedipal trauma. But let's avoid that phrase preoedipal trauma, because when you say oedipal trauma, you're implying there's no preoedipal, but the oedipal is a transference of the preoedipal into the oedipal, so the oedipal is still the preoedipal. So you confuse people when you say oedipal trauma. The oedipal just means you're having a hard time expressing yourself into the third in the world. So the father kind of bridged like that. But if you're loved by the mother, you can do it without the father. You can express yourself if you have your beingness. So it's always a preoedipal trauma. It's always like that. It's just layered over, or the narcissism gives you a pseudo feeling of expression, but it's still a preoedipal trauma, basic fault. So a lot of people, this is the issue with Mr. Ballant and Miss Germaine, Guex, however that's pronounced, Miss Gouet, right? Or she says, we need a term for this. Come on, people, we need a term to better capture this issue, that the baby didn't get the experience of oneness with the mother for the first 4 to 5 months. That's a huge fault. Yes, it's an attachment trauma. Yes, it's an interpersonal trauma, betrayal trauma, ambient trauma, arrested development, stunted development, developmental arrest. Yes, there's a kind of a fixation, a freezing. What else? Is there any other term? What about geology? Like inside your psyche, like the myth, Earth opens up, Ms. Core gets pulled down. Isn't there a fault like in the crack in the geological metaphor of the crack in the earth like that? So we feel this emotional crack, like an emotional symbol for how you feel. So that crack, okay, that's a little bit like feeling empty. There's something missing there, right? You know, people say there's something missing or something. So there's like a basic fault, like a fault in the geology like that. So he says, yeah, let's borrow this phrase, basic fault, to talk about not having access or being separated from our sense of beingness. True healing happens only through the perception and understanding of this basic fault. So if we just stay numb and now I need something to make me feel better. What kind of love is this? And now I need something to feel better. Oh, our song for this is Street Hearts. What kind of love is this? So the conclusion was, and now I need something to feel better. So you always have the psychic pain. He's cursed. Thanks a lot, mother. Thanks for giving me this basic fault. Now I gotta go through life looking for something to make me feel better. Cookies, ice cream, smoking, numbing pain, okay, distraction, to make me unaware of the pain. I gotta feel better from this pain. I always feel pain. I need something to make me feel better. What kind of love is this, mother? Should we play it now? What kind of love is this? Oh, let's. Do we have it here? Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. Streetheart. What kind of love is this? Yeah, we got it here. Okay, let's play in a minute. Okay, I just played a song. Let's keep going here. Okay, again here. So our realizations, insights, and experiences are necessary and at times painful or helpful. So your insights might be helpful, or your insights, you might have a negative reaction to your insights because it brings up too much. But if our insights are to transform who we are, well, we need to address this basic fault, expose this basic fault, identify this basic fault. If you ignore the basic fault, if you ignore preoedipal trauma, if you ignore the abandonment syndrome, if you ignore the abandonment depression, if you ignore this core kind of trauma, the mother failed me, if you ignore that your mother failed you, if you don't want to believe your mother failed you, that's a new one, huh?
จัดเตรียมไว้ให้ขอความร่วมมืองดสูบบุหรี่บุหรี่ไฟฟ้ากัญชาหรือดื่มเครื่องดื่มที่มีส่วนผสมของแอลกอฮอล์ทุกชนิดภายในสวนขอบคุณครับ
No idea what he's talking about. Well, I want to know what it means. Maybe don't feed the stray cats. I don't know. Try something. Another one. Part 2.
ขอความร่วมมือผู้ใช้บริการสวนทุกท่านโปรดช่วยกันรักษาความสะอาดจัดทิ้งขยะของท่านในภาชนะหรือถังที่ทางสวนเก็บไว้ให้ขอความร่วมมือห้ามสูบบุหรี่บุหรี่ไฟฟ้ากัญชาหรือสารเสพติดต่างๆและไม่ดื่มเครื่องดื่มที่มีส่วนผสมของแอลกอฮอล์ทุกชนิดภายในสวน Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am very sorry. No smoking in the park.
Oh.
Please help keep and clean.
No smoking.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I see. No smoking in the park. Okay, well, that's good. Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. This is mostly used by kids. So if you got the potheads running around, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Jesus Christ, you don't want kids exposed inhaling that stuff. Yeah, Jesus Christ. There's a lot of like, there's a school near here, and after classes, some of them hang out here, do their homework or just sit around or something. So if you got, tourists and things, smoking, yeah, Jesus Christ, that's a good one, yeah. Although it does enlarge the amygdala. And now I need something to make me feel better, right? That's the song we're talking about. So why do people look for substances to trick their brain, to bring up old fantasies that once upon a time in the good old days they were safe in a blissful condition in the uterus, and from that fantasy being blipped up, it triggers the release of the serotonin. Now I need something to make me feel better. You're not addicted to the substance. You're trying to get the fantasies to blip up the serotonin from the fantasies. So you want the effect. So the eating and drinking and stuff, etc. It's called an addictive trigger mechanism, or an ersatz self-object. To think that something is the breast, but all it does is trigger up the regressive fantasies. Now, if you can bring up those fantasies that you had once upon a time where you were in a safeful, blissful condition, then from the blissful memories you get the serotonin. That's what you're looking for, right? To trick your brain to send you serotonin. You don't care, people don't really care which it takes. So you can substitute it around kind of thing. Well, that's what he said here. The basic fault. Trading one situation for another is not true independence. Trading wives won't do it, or trading husbands won't do it. It might relieve things momentarily, but the basic fault remains intact. The basic fault travels with you wherever you go. Okay, that's got to be a burglar quote. Burglar does this. So he has a famous book way before that guy, I think, called Divorce Won't Help. So you have inner conflicts in your mind, right? And you marry someone thinking you can heal your inner conflicts. It doesn't work. So you think choosing another partner, you mean you're going to leave your inner conflicts if you leave the mate? No, your inner conflicts will faithfully follow you into the next relationship. So heal your inner conflicts, save your marriage, divorce won't help, the title of the book. So okay, let's say the woman marries a narcissistic man because her mother was narcissistic. So she leaves the narcissistic man looking for another narcissistic man. No, the issue with them, that she has a problem with the narcissistic mother in the mind, is still there. So it follows her in every relationship. So she keeps marrying narcissistic men because she's still recreating the unresolved, unfinished business with the mother. She's still stuck, struggling there. So she finds someone to play the role of mother back then. And she's kind of like she's choosing how the father chose, because that's the role model mate. It's really quite explainable. Katie Lee says. About the smoking, Janoff has a line. I'm a little confused myself. When the person reaches for the cigarette, do they know they're in pain? Do they know that they're using the cigarette as a tranquilizer to numb the pain? Do they even know they're in pain? That's the power of the unconscious. They have unconscious pain. They're unconsciously reaching to take away the pain. The cigarette is in a mirage-like way to fill in for the missing nipple to the breast, right? It's not it, but it's filling in for the missingness of it. But that just is to stand in to recreate the mechanism where you want to get the effect as if the breasts were there, whereby if the breasts were there back in the past, you would stimulate the chemistry around the times when you were blissfully one with the mother, and you want to bring up those old nostalgic good old day fantasies. So it's like a nostalgia kind of thing. Ullman and Paul regards smoking and drinking as like nostalgia. Take you back to the good old days. Bring up those fantasies, you don't remember it, but when you get those fantasies where you unconsciously felt like you were in a blissful time, then the brain sends you serotonin. If you trick yourself to feel safe through the chemistry activity by giving you pain, meaning you're tied to the mother, where's mother? Here's mother, cigarettes, mother, I'm safe with the mother. Mother gave me pain, well, I'm with the mother, it's familiar, but I can regress to the good time with the mother. Yeah, you want to lead it to the good time with the mother. So find the trauma mother and take you back to the good time of the mother. So the mother was good in uterus, but she was painful in afterbirth. Okay, that's the story of That's the story of fairy tales. The mother's good in uterus, but at birth, poof, the mother's the wicked queen. Same woman, not separate characters. It's ironic with cigarettes because he says the cigarette might remind, well, one example was the cigarette reminded the person when he was sucking his thumb as a child. Now, why did the child suck his thumb? Because the mother wasn't around. She was whacked. She was confused, didn't know how to feed properly, was absent. So the child was looking, so he turned to his own thumb to fill in for it. That's the self-object. And then, so that's why some people think a cigarette is ultimately traces you back to the nipple kind of thing. So you think you have the mother, you don't. It reminds you that you don't. That means you're reminded of the pain, but the pain is mother. So you give yourself pain to remind you of your mother. Put it that way. When pain and love are the same, sings Pat Benatar in her song called Hellos for Children. When love and pain are the same. So to get mother, you do self-defeating things. Dysfunction, self-defeating activities link you to the mother, tie you to the mother, keep you there with the mother. Okay, that's pain, but that's mother. And you take the pain and think that's mother, so you're safe. That's your only link to the mother. Pain is your only link to the mother, so you make the pain pleasurable because the mother. You make the pain mother. So there's mother. You feel pain. So pain and mother get. Berger's term for it is the libidinalization of psychic pain, the libidinalization of self-defeating behavior, the libidinalization of dysfunction, the libidinalization of guilt, shame, etc. That term for it is psychic masochism. Nobody wants to know this. Nobody wants to believe this. Nobody wants to admit this. So you confess to a lesser crime. Oh, the problem is there's the wrong brand of cigarettes. Yeah, that's the problem. Why do I smoke? Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Make some excuse or something. Oh, you gotta relax. Come on, no big deal. I watch TV. I saw attractive people smoking. A woman might say, "Yeah, I saw my favorite hero on TV say that cigarettes are torches of freedom. I want my freedom." You got to be kidding. It ties you back to the mother. The only freedom is maybe you might repel people who you think are your mother. So now I need something to make me. Yeah, let's play that song. I think I think this song says it better than I can. Here's a song by the classic rock band Streetheart. The singer is Kenny Shields, passed away about 10 years ago, I think. Here's one of their hit songs.
Try to
Another important thing about the cigarette thing was they feel important because they're doing it. If they're gonna be reminded of the rejection, at least they do it. They feel agency, they create it. So they're salvaging some remnant of infantile megalomania and narcissism where they create everything. Magical thing, they gotta create it. So I created it. Mother hurt me, well I'll replay the hurt, I'll do it. I'll be disappointed, I'll disappoint. Mother disappoint me? No, I'll disappoint myself, I'll replay it. I'll be like the mother, do something symbolic to recreate it, but I did it. So you preserve some narcissism when you drink and smoke and stuff, because you're doing it. You're reaching for the cigarette, and you're gonna drive to the beer store. You're doing these things. You're making it happen. You're the one who creates things. So you're the active like that. So that's a sad kind of thing. The only way to feel identity is to hurt yourself. That's the Faustian deal, basically. Okay, let's continue here with the quotes here. Did we finish the first one? Oh yeah, the basic fault travels with you wherever you go. Yeah. So trading husbands won't do it. It might relieve things momentarily, but the inner conflict, the abandonment syndrome, the basic fault, the chasm image in your mind, the metaphor in your, okay, it remains. The memory remains. The memory follows you. What happened follows you. The ghosts follow you. The ghost, the memory. Ghosts means, ghosts are code for unprocessed traumas, unmourned losses, unrecognized anything. It's all haunted there, like a haunted house kind of thing in the mind. That haunted house follows you, bugging you and wanting you to search for mother stuff. So when there's trauma, we have the hope for the fulfillment of old unfulfilled needs. So now when real needs are unmet, they become symbolic needs. So the ghost says, come on, reach for mother, reach for the cigarette, reach for the ice cream, reach for the beer, reach for the material, get money, get something to be symbolic of mother. That's the ghost going on, right? So now we have neurotic needs. Neurotic needs are called symbolic act-outs. It's because you don't know what you're driven by this loop, but the present is being driven by the past loop. So what do you do in the present? You can only find something symbolic of the past. Okay, basic fault. Clients who experience in a profound way the basic fault. Okay, this is an eerie, he calls it, an eerie sense of defect. An eerie sense of defect. It's not a physical thing. It's a metaphor. It's a geological metaphor to describe, like a painting, like an artwork, to describe how you feel. It's an eerie feeling. This eerie feeling of defect or something missing. Okay, reflecting disturbances in the preoedipal, i.e. the symbiotic phase of mother-child intimacy. So something went wrong during the symbiotic phase. Something really wrong took place in the first 4 to 5 months, most in particular. Babies need a Garden of Eden, a Shambhala, a Shangri-La, Avalon, a peaceful, blissful participation mystique. This is so-called preoedipal kind of. When it's just mother and a baby, they call it preoedipal. When the baby is loved, go through the developmental process and express himself, that expressing yourself into the world where you're letting the blue jay feel inside, meaning you're activating your real self. Everybody's unique, you know what's unique about you, and you express your uniqueness, and everyone's better off like that. That's the edible, that's the third. So baby, mother, that's the basic, and then expressing yourself into the world via the father. Father's like a bridge to the world. But the father, what happens is when there's a trauma with the mother, sometimes the baby says, hey father, mother messed up here. Do what the mother should have done. No, the father cannot do what the mother should have done. He can guide the child a little bit, he can protect the child a little bit, but he can't actually do what the mother should have done. The mother's meant to provide a continuation of the uterus thing. Okay, she did it in the uterus in the beginning. The mother's supposed to provide an extended social, interpersonal, womb-like condition for the first 4 to 5 months. Skin to skin, natural feeding, the cord stays, the placenta stays, lotus birth, yesterday's video, and then maintain the continuity and reestablished intimacy that's always there, and for the first 4 to 5 months. Fathers can't do that kind of thing. If that's messed up, with basic fault, Father, fix my basic fault. Father shaking his head, don't blame me for that. He's enraged at the father. Father cannot correct that kind of thing. That's the basic fault. The baby and the mother's symbiosis. That's a basic. There's no other alternative. There's no other There's no other compensation for that. There's no way to fix that unless you engage in a therapy mourning kind of process. But you can't directly try to get what you didn't get. But we have the hope to do so, and we try to do so symbolically. Father, can you do it? He can't do it. Then you look. Teachers, can you do it? They can't do it. The one you marry, they can't do it. The nurse in the nursing home, they can't do it. So it carries with you all the time. It haunts you this whole time. This eerie feeling of defect or something missing. All it does make you do, A, symbolic acting out, so that can be greedy because you keep gobbling, thinking that's mother, that's not mother. Do it again, that's not mother. Do it again, that's not mother. Now you're on a hedonic treadmill, blindly looking for mother, doesn't work. You're on this hedonic treadmill. That doesn't work. You're going to be greedy like this, gobbling. It's greedy, right? Doesn't work. It's a treadmill thing. It's just looking for mother, disappointed. Looking for mother, disappointed. That's the treadmill. Repetition compulsion. No pint of ice cream can be mother's sweetness in the past. No cookie can be mother's comfort in the past. No bottle of wine can be mother's spirit, like alcoholic spirits. That's mother's spirit? Stimulating fluid, breast milk? Come on. No bottle of wine is... You're just grasping for something because the baby's grasping for mother. Now, on the anger side of it all, proxies play you and you reject them the way you reject them. So either you do it directly or others play you doing it and you reject them, then you hate them because you express your anger at the mother like that. This is all, that's back to Eve White and Eve Black, frozen child, freezing parent. You got to build a both and mind. The both and mind is like the boat. Robert Bly thinks the Noah's Ark is means, the metaphor means the boat is on the water, right? So in the water, you don't see what's in the ocean like that, contents. So if you're coming from the unconscious trauma, then you're operating unconsciously from freezing child, frozen parent. That's unconscious trauma. You don't even see it. It's dark in there, repressed in there, under the ground like that. Well, if you build a boat, okay, then you're in the air, sunshine, you're in the air. That's consciousness. But that boat is established when you find the third side of the coin. Okay, when you heal oppositional thinking, when you heal jungle slogan thinking. Jungle slogan thinking and prejudicial thinking is loyalty and tied to the mother. That guy Bob in the film has a huge mother complex. That's why they got to bring in the mother in that film. Okay, prejudice and jungle slogan mentality is protecting the mother. They're too tied to the mother. They can't leave the mother. They never got enough love with her. So they want to express their anger at the mother onto others. And that's loyalty to the mother. So they shame others, mother shamed them. That's loyalty to the mother. Now they're angry at the mother, well, they just express their anger to the mother onto one they just shamed. So they're still protecting the mother. So prejudice protects your mother. Prejudice protects your mother. You still have this unconscious hope that one day a magical time machine will appear. Mother will take you back to the nursery, say, I'm sorry, let me do it right this time. Only the mourning process, only by building the arc, the Jane mind, the both and mind. Psychoanalysis looks for an egg in a basket that's missing. Okay? So we, on our end, can build the basket. The quotes builds the basket. Then there could be an egg and the new potential, new life, the new bird, the firebird, the phoenix, the new potential, the depth of unreal hope, the birth of new life, the birth from the egg, the birth of new life. Now, where does the egg come from? Well, first of all, In one fairy tale, you got to study the spirit of the rabbit. The rabbit is a symbol for the trickster energy, okay, i.e. defense mechanisms. So when the baby's traumatized, he does all these tricks. He's hopping around like a rabbit with defense mechanisms: projection, projective identification, Faustian deal, double think, trance logic, okay, counterphobia, reaction formation, a psychic splitting. Okay, he does these kind of tricky things in the mind to help the baby survive. So so when you study defense mechanisms, that's studying the spirit of the rabbit, the trickster energy. As you're doing that, infused in that, you're going to bring up the spirit of the duck energy inside the rabbit energy. Inside the rabbit is the duck, they said. The spirit. Now, the spirit of the duck is the duck can live in all worlds. The duck can walk on the land, swim in the water, fly in the air. You got to live in these worlds. Okay? So as you study defense mechanisms, you're living in these kind of worlds. Now, if you're living in these kind of worlds like a duck, so you're embracing the duck, make the unconscious conscious, bring up the fish, okay, bring it into the air, eat the fish, okay, or pull up the fish, pull up the rampion, pull up the radishes, or in Snow White, within you, you mine up, like the dwarves, mine up stuff, you mine it up, bring up to consciousness, the trauma, the basic fault, mine up how you cope with the trauma, mine up the treasure, mine up your potential, make the unconscious conscious. That's a similar idea of the duck going into the water, bringing it up. Okay, the miners bring it up. Okay, you pull up the radishes or the carrots or the rampions, bring it up. And sometimes in some fairy tales, they eat the fish, they eat the rampions. That's called psychological food, called assimilation, and make it yours again. It was yours, you lost it, want to get it back, and you reintegrate it. The symbol is assimilate and accept, make it part back to you, so you digest it back into you, so you eat the radish, you eat the fish, right? Stuff like that. Or you mine it up and you have it like that. So if you get to the duck place, then from the duck place, then maybe an egg appears. And in the egg, okay, I knew that the firebird and the feelings come back. And the idea about first getting to the rabbit, you need some kind of stability in your environment to let you think about things. That's the tree one, huh? So you got to find the tree, they said, and then the roots of the tree, there's a box. Open the box, there's a rabbit, and the rabbit morphs into a duck morphs into an egg. Okay, for more on this idea, there's a book called Maiden King by Robert Bly and Marion Woodman. Very good book. The whole book is a psychological interpretation of that one fairy tale. So they talk about Baba Yaga and all that. The one of the Baba Yagas says to the protagonist, "Oh, you want to heal, do you? You want your feelings back? Can you show me signs of both and thinking? Or do you still protect the mother with adversarial thinking, oppositional thinking?" So if you still want to protect your mother, you can't pass the gate of Baba Yaga, right? If you show signs, no, I want to heal. I recognize mother's in pain. She tried her best. A little unclarity here. There's a little ambivalence. Okay, you're getting somewhere. They can go forward like that. Can you discern between the seeds of neurotic needs and authentic needs, and how neurotic needs are there as a distinction or symbol of when your real needs are met? Can you discern this? So you divide the seeds, and so on. So you have these like metaphors for the psychological tasks involved. Okay, can you identify your unreal hopes? Right? Like really, seriously, a pint of ice cream can my mother's love in the past? Seriously? Can you identify that? Really repeating the past, that you're going to change the past? Seriously? Treating others badly the way your mother treated you in the Faust deal means your mother's going to apologize? Seriously? Can you face the false belief that you're guilty? Can you correct this false belief? No baby's guilty. All babies were born to be loved. No baby's born defective or guilt. It's nonsense. All babies are lovable. All babies are human beings. All babies come from the great nature, great spirit like this. Every baby's unique. Nature's greatest miracle. And when a baby's on the scene, the odds of that baby or the odds of any person here being here are 1 in 400 trillion. Right off the bat, you value people. I can see people in the park all over the place. I can have that thought that the odds of these people I see in front of me, each one of them being here, sitting on the grass, the odds of them being here right now in this moment are 1 in 400 trillion. Okay, I can't make it out, but I can see some fellow sitting on the grass, cross-legged, playing with his phone or something. The odds of that person, okay, being here on the grass, okay, sitting cross-legged, the odds of him being here are 1 in 400 trillion. Okay, that's something special and valuable right off the bat, you see. Even if you feel, you see someone, you might feel a little triggered or something. Nevertheless, when you calm down, likewise, each person is, the odds of that person being here are 1 in 400 trillion. So everybody's valuable, everybody's chosen, everybody's important like that. Fairbairn says that the summary statement is, anytime the mother does not treat her baby like a human being, basic fault. Okay, you get the problem. The mother has to treat the baby like a human being. But why might a mother not treat her baby like a human being? Well, she's coming from the place when she herself was a baby, when she thought, during that time when she herself was a baby, during that time, she thought the breast, her mother's breast, was the thing that she owned, that was her possession, that should serve her. Okay, so she takes that, she's frozen there, has a baby. You're a thing I own and I possess you. I'm entitled. You gotta feed me. So now she's using the baby as a symbolic mother's breast. Okay, that poor baby's not being seen. That baby's being thingified, depersonalized, and that's where all the problems come from. So mothers need to feel some feelings about their trauma with their mothers, then they love their babies. If they don't remember any feelings, then they repeat it. So mothers have to get out of that mirror. Mothers have to mourn the loss and get out of the mirror. That's called healing intergenerational trauma, when she gets her feelings. If she doesn't have her feelings, she's just going to repeat it on to the child. Rob the child, betray the child because she was robbed and betrayed. Just repeats the thing, because the child will be hurt and she's the one who did it to her. Okay, let's do the next one here. Okay, so the next two here sort of deals with what should the therapist do then? If a person has the basic fault, now what? What should the therapist do? Should they be like Mr. Kohat and mirror the person? Oh, you weren't mirrored and seen, you didn't have a symbiosis? Mr. Kohat says, I'll be one with you. I'll create a narcissistic fusion with you. We'll be a blissful one. We'll have a fully dual shared oneness. We'll have entrainment. We'll have our minds will be one. I'll do that for you, okay? That's what Mr. Kohat says. I'll be the self-object for you. You didn't get the breast? I'll be the breast for you. Whoa, okay, huge mistake. Huge mistake. That's gonna lead to madness. Okay, play Dan McCafferty's song, Love Leads to Madness. It's gonna lead to madness. It's gonna promote regression. The client's not conscious. You're infantilizing him, you're patronizing him. He might feel better a little bit for a while, but what you're doing is you're promoting the gap where he's the baby and the therapist is the goddess breast mother. And you're regressing him. That's called a malignant regression, he calls it. A malignant regression. So you don't want to do that. The real problem is not about gratifying or frustrating the regressed client, but about how the analyst's response to the regression. Oh, that is the problem. Hang on. Okay, hang on, let's just start here. The analyst's response to the regression will influence the client-analyst relationship and by it, the further course of the treatment. If the analyst's response, for example, satisfying the client's expectations, creates an impression in the client that his analyst is capable, knowledgeable, bordering on omniscient, omnipotent. Wow, you're amazing. You're a miracle doctor. Wow, you're the world's greatest doctor. Wow, stuff like that. This response should be considered risky and inadvisable. It is likely to increase the inequality between the client and analyst. which may lead to the creation of addiction-like states by exacerbating the client's basic fault. So he might become addicted to therapy, right? It's not even therapy. He might become addicted to mirroring. He might be, so the therapist is acting like a cookie and almost with this kind of stuff. And the genuine therapy is to promote equality. The idea is that the analyst is a detective. You want the client, you want to teach him to be a detective. You got to be two co-detectives here, and as two detectives, you work on the person together as a team. You work on the client's basic fault as a team. But the client is the main detective. He's the master detective, teaching him to be a detective. So it's not about parent-baby, recreating the parent-baby thing. It's about building up the client's ego to think like a shrink, to think like a analyst. So you got to build his ego, build a nest, point things out to him. I noticed he said this. Defense before content. You were saying this. I noticed you changed the topic. Yeah, I did change the topic. Feeling came. A feeling came. I felt blocked. I felt angry. Oh. Go on. Well, the angriest thing here is that I was trying to say something and my mother wouldn't listen or something. So you just point out their defense and he'll bring up the content. Defense before content. The therapist points out how you're resisting and then the client does the rest kind of thing. Defense before content. I noticed he changed the topic. That's enough, right? And he'll say why and the content will come up. And then he does that for himself. If the shrink notices the resistance, he remembers that and then shrinks himself. He'll analyze himself. He'll notice when he uses a resistance and then he'll bring up the content himself. So you're trying to do that kind of thing. You try to make the person be conscious of what's going on, not passive like that. So this co-op thing is all passive stuff. The dilemmas involved in taking care of people who will get worse the more you give them. Yeah, so this is insatiable. Now you're getting insatiable greed. The therapist is going to be the missing breast mother. You're demanding more, you're demanding more. The therapist can't do it. You can't try to get what you're supposed to receive back in the nursery time. No one can do that. As Ballant discussed, these clients don't feel satisfied when you spend an hour understanding them. They insist you do more. When you respond with more literal gratification, they become even more demanding in what Ballant called a malignant regression. This is to be expected with people with narcissism, the bully pattern, lower functioning BPD pattern, the paranoid schizoid position, people who are addicted, drug use, alcohol, drugs, cigarette, okay, etc., manic, so on, okay, all that kind of stuff, antisocial, all that stuff. Anybody traumatized before 18 months, basically. Okay, let's talk about this thing about the phrase here. Okay, so this back to the, here's the terminology one. Okay, it often happens. Am I gonna fall back here? This chair. It's hard to get my chair has a bit of a problem here. Jesus Christ. Okay, can I do this? Is that all right? I'm not gonna tip over, am I? Let's try this. Okay, is that okay? Oh, let's try this. It often happens. Let me calm down here. I gotta play a song here. It often happens in science. It often happens in science that an unhappy choice of name leads to misunderstandings or prejudices the unbiased study of the problem. In order to avoid these risks, the two mental levels should be called by terms that are independent of each other. Just as the Oedipal level possesses its own name derived from one of its main characteristics, so the other level should have its own and should not be called something else, certainly not preoedipal, because it may coexist with the oedipal. At any rate, as far as our clinical experiences go. For the moment, I wish to leave open the question whether or not there are periods when the mind knows only one level and not the other. On the other hand, it must be emphasized that this other level is definitely simpler, more primitive than the Oedipal level. I propose to call it the level of the basic fault. And I wish to stress that it is described as a fault, not as a position or conflict or situation or a complex or a syndrome. So it's prior to a conflict. It's just something more basic. So that's the birth of the phrase. This quote here is sort of the birth of the phrase, I think. Yeah, Mr. Ballant there. And a lot of shrinks have said this. When you talk about the eternal love triangle, you're really talking about the basic fault. But everybody's confused. So if you think in terms of, oh, okay, well, he was loved. The problem is he just needs a little coaching and guidance and he'll function in the world. No, he just transfers the disappointment with the mother into the world. He transfers the basic fault into the world, and you're still dealing with the basic fault. So the Oedipal is still the preoedipal. So to avoid this confusion, offer some clarity here. No, we're dealing with the basic fault. I'm not even fully sure, really. Okay, my understanding is the Oedipal would be, you just need a little coaching, a few tips, and you really do express yourself. Maybe you're just a little afraid like that. So it's not about getting mother's love, but if you got mother's love, you'd have the confidence to express yourself. But the argument is maybe there's some kind of confusion in that area, and a little fatherly guidance, a little mentor guidance, and you're on your way kind of thing. But if the mentor thing doesn't work, if the teacher thing doesn't work, or the father can't guide you or teach you or something, and you're still dealing with the basic fault, then that's the basic fault issue. But if you have a time with the mentor and you can flourish and be yourself, then that's the third issue. That's the preoedipal dynamic. But if there's not, you don't even find mentors in the world, right? So because they have a basic fault, they can't even be a mentor. We're a society without the father, society without the father, society without the mentor. Sibling society, we're all squabbling siblings, Robert Blythe says. No, there's no father around, because the father is the basic fault, because the father's looking for mother. And you got teenagers, boys looking for fatherly guidance, but the fathers are still looking for mother. So this is all a basic fault issue, more or less. So that's why he focused on the idea, let's have a separate term. He did the same thing Miss Grew did, Germaine Grew, or Gouet. She calls it abandonment syndrome. Her synonymous term for basic fault, or his synonymous term for her abandonment, they're synonymous. Abandonment syndrome is synonymous with basic fault, which is synonymous with the old jargon of preoedipal trauma. What's the next one here? Let's do the next one then. Okay, the next one here. Appreciation of and gratitude for the analyst's work. On the Oedipal level, okay, provided the analyst's work has been up to professional standards, these two sentiments of gratitude and appreciation are powerful allies, and especially during bleak periods, may help considerably. At the level of the basic fault, one cannot be certain at all that the client will bear in mind, still less that he will appreciate that his analyst was skillful and understanding in the past, whether remote or recent. One reason for this profound change is that at the level clients feel that it is their due to receive what they need. Okay, that's the narcissism, right? Narcissism never feels gratitude because whatever they get, well, they're entitled, they should get it. They're kings and gods, they should get it. So they can't feel gratitude because they're entitled. They only feel entitled if they get something. There's no feeling of gratitude because they're just entitled. That's the basic fault area. If you have gratitude, now you're maybe in the so-called Oedipal issue, the three-triangle issue. So maybe that's, so this reminds me of the sort of the other theory about the trauma before 18 months is preoedipal, basic fault stuff, no gratitude, no apology, no ability to apologize because you're still entitled. So why should you apologize? If you get something, well, of course, you're entitled. You're a baby that should receive. So gratitude is a developmental accomplishment after you've been loved. Then you post the 18-month place. Post 18 months, then you're in the area where you can feel gratitude and appreciation. So clingers and pleasers and childlike people who have anxiety, they can feel gratitude and appreciation. They can feel warm, energetic vibrations in the heart, energetic heart area. They can feel warm feelings when something good happens. They can feel warm in the heart, not physical heart, the energetic heart, that energy swirling heart chakra area. I think in acupuncture it's the see something point. That area, there's a warm, like a warm bun, an energetic warm bun, a bun, not a physical bun that you eat, a warm bun, kind of warm, a warmth there can be there. But that's only going to happen post 18 months. Trauma prior to 18 months, the energy stuck in the amygdala. It's stuck in the survival brain. It didn't reach. That's why the Snow White story, they said the reason there are 7 dwarves, because there are 7 chakras. You got to clean the chakras, she said. So a quick clue to the basic fault: lack of gratitude, only entitlement. You cannot make an I statement. You can't tell the truth. You don't trust. Your slogans in life are all jungle-based. My greed or your greed, either or, splitting mechanism. Okay, like the Bob guy, prejudice. One little thing you don't know. Well, that's the picture of my rage when my mother hurt me, and that picture of my rage, that person possesses that trait. That's why you're so angry at your mother. So someone who's other, that's your mother suddenly, kind of thing. So that's the basic fault. It's a huge basic fault to be paranoid, to have that kind of psychic splitting and projection like that. You're not in the place of gratitude. Gratitude enters into the psychological picture post 18 months. After the infantile megalomania dissolves around 18 months, then love and gratitude start to enter into the psychological picture. So gratitude will start to enter into the psychological picture post 18 months. Now, people prior to 18 months, they're master liars. They can fake gratitude, but it'll be cynical. If they can deceive you with gratitude, that's cynical gratitude. It's just a trick to get their supply. If they can lie and pretend and fool you, then they get supply. They just want supply. They feel entitled. The reason they lie all the time, because they feel entitled to get. They gotta get. They gotta be the center. They gotta be center stage. You gotta get attention. This is famously seen with the bully pattern. I gotta be seen. Don't slight me. Don't ignore me. I gotta be centered. He'll scare you. Oh, look, oh, I'm important. So he bullies you, scares you as a trick to get it to, I'm important. He's got to feel significance. He creates it. He can't feel that someone doesn't respond to him. He slighted me. He gets enraged. He's no mother, no breast. So if someone is different, that triggers that. Okay, again, someone who's different triggers that. Plus, you got the added psychology of the person thinking, A, they're not your mother because you're not one with them. You don't feel you could be one with them because you don't know them. That triggers the past stuff. Okay. B, there may be a sense that the other, who's not your mother, we get that, but maybe they're your mother who hurt you, so you angered your mother, so we get that part. And C, maybe they were loved. That's a source of envy. To feel safe with your mother, you gotta hate goodness. So if you see someone who's different, that means they were loved because they're different. That means they differentiated from their mother. That means they were loved. That's a huge source of envy. The only way to feel safe is to hate goodness. So you hate the other because they have a goodness, you think. So to feel safe, you gotta hate goodness. So prejudice can come from that as well. Okay, typically, in particular with the lower functioning BPD, they don't really care about time kind of thing. So when people BS, they lie in the moment, they survive. 2 minutes later, they lie again. Wait a minute, 2 minutes ago you said that. I don't care. I said it to survive in that moment. I said it to feel important in that moment. Now, 2 minutes later, that's what it is now. I don't care about the contradiction. I only have the now. Now I gotta feel important, so if I gotta lie again, I'll feel important this time. So they have what's called survival anxiety. Okay. They don't see the contradiction because in the unconscious, in the primary mentation, there's no time. So if it's one moment, they gotta lie to feel important. Next moment, they gotta lie to feel important, and they forget. Either they forget about the moment before, or they lie about that, cover it up. They can't see the link. They only gotta feel important all the time. That's why there's so much contradictions, but they're feeling good in each moment. They're lying and feeling important. Lying and feeling important. Get supply. So if they scare you and you pay attention to them, they got supply. If they confuse you, they think you're wise because of that, they got supply called trance logic. Okay, and that's why included in this, or a backdrop to this is called the BPD amalgam. In the mind, there's like a magic mirror, house of mirrors, hollow mirrors, and that allows the person to play catch me if you can, now you see me, now you don't, flip-flop. You said that, flip, no, you said that. Or they act like you said it, but they did. You said something, but you act like they said it. You confuse people, flip things around. Or they said something, you act like that you said it, and they didn't say it. They can survive with this kind of trickery, hollow mirrors, magic mirrors thing, because they're in survival mode. They're just swirling around trying to survive all the time. Mother's hurting them, and they gotta lie and flip-flop and duplicity, and they gotta be important and trick others, and shame others to feel important, reject others to feel important. They gotta feel important all the time. They're trapped in the mirror. Narcissism is trapped. Oh my God, how's this chair? Is this really gonna fall? I think it's okay. Jeez, I'm really on the edge with this. I gotta see if I can get this chair fixed or something. Okay, I'm being a little lazy today. Normally I sit up straight, but I'm kind of a little bit tired today, actually. Again, okay. So gratitude and appreciation, that would be considered post 18 months, i.e. the Oedipal, where you're moving towards expressing yourself, okay, having your identity, and having your individuation and real self-activation. That'd be like the Oedipal, quote-unquote Oedipal issue, the triangle. You left the mother, now you're into the world. That's the triangle or Oedipal. Now, the myth is a metaphor that the baby and the mother got married, right? No, it's just a symbol that the psychological fusion, the psychological marriage, psychological incest, whatever, it's by the mother. The child doesn't want that. The child wants to be loved by the mother, to leave the mother, to move forward like that. connect with the father, have some guidance and protection from the father. Thanks, Dad. I'll go to school. Thanks, teacher. Thanks, mentor. Now they're on their own like that. Now they could be mentors. They could be mentors like that. They never get to that kind of developmental point because they're frozen at the basic fault area. That's the quote-unquote preoedipal or two-body or two-person psychology. That's the basic fault. In the basic fault area, trauma before 18 months, okay, bully pattern, Iago pattern, lower functioning BPD pattern, antisocial pattern, okay, paranoid schizoid position. The humor is dark humor, sardonic humor, cynical humor, okay, put down humor, because others are you, and you got to shame your soul to repress how you're shaming yourself. So when you repress your soul, you project your soul onto others, reject others to repress it within yourself. When you repress it within yourself because you're loyal to the mother, doing to you what your mother did to you to please your mother, your soul is projected onto others, then you reject others to repress what's within. So repression and projection are linked like that. So when you reject others with your dark humor, bitter humor, you're repressing within. Okay, now sometimes you do an extra thing where you interact with people with the belief that they possess the thing that you don't want to know about yourself, i.e. you feel no good mother's dangerous. They're no good and dangerous. And you want to coax them, prod them, induce them to show signs of, aha, that represses further. The next step is a scapegoating. If they go away like that, you think you can go away with them. No, it'll follow you with, all you're doing is repression. The scapegoating dynamic, blaming dynamic, prejudice dynamic, it's all about repression. It's all about repression to treat yourself the way your mother treated you because you become her and you want to protect her. And your anger at her has to go onto the scapegoat because you are the mother. And you flip it around and you protect the mother by doing this. So prejudice is still loyalty to the mother, protecting the mother. There's a huge mother complex. That's a huge basic fault. At the level of the basic fault, one cannot be certain at all that the client will bear in mind. Yeah, so they're not, okay, at the basic fault, they're not gonna, it's always splitting. Idealized or devalued. It could be 1 minute, oh, you're great. Next minute, oh, you're totally no good, right? They don't remember, oh, okay, yeah, you were good before. Now it's not perfect, but I remember there was something good before, so let's just tolerate some ambiguity here. If the analyst provides what is needed, this fact is taken for granted and loses all its value as proof of skill, and in due course more and more demands will be produced. In present day literature, this syndrome is called oral greed. Okay, so the trauma before 18 months, they have oral greed. So narcissism has oral greed. The bully pattern, Iago pattern, all the cynic types, all the sarcastic type, they have oral greed. Always envy and oral greed and ennui and cynicism and schadenfreude, they're all kind of together. Let's do this. Okay, one more here. One of the core sets of ideas that Freud inherited from the pre-psychoanalytic thinking of Charcot, 1882, and Genet, 1889, quoted in Ellenberger's 1970 book, was that certain mental contents, ideas, memories, thoughts, cannot be integrated into one's dominant self-organization and therefore exist outside normal consciousness. Furthermore, by virtue of their, quote, underground, unconscious, under the water, under the ground, another world, we live in these two worlds, okay, unintegrated status, these contents exert powerful pathogenic influences upon one's behavior, thoughts, and feelings. So even before Freud, the power of the unconscious was known. Burglar has one metaphor for this. Well, we know about the iceberg metaphor. Another metaphor, I don't think anybody knows. Burglar just has it in one of his articles. It's not a bad little metaphor. It's kind of simple. Let's say you got a guy who owns a luxurious entertainment, hotel, entertainment, shopping mall complex or something. Let's say they own let's say they own $1 billion, whatever. But you don't see him. You don't see him around. You don't know who he is. You don't know where he is. Maybe he's on a yacht on the Virgin Islands. Maybe he's in a castle by the sea. Oh, Castle by the Sea. Should we play that one? One of the songs in our soundtrack is by the band And Shell. They have a song entitled Castle by the Sea. Or maybe they're in a penthouse apartment, or maybe they're in a coffee shop. Who knows? The point is, the owner of the complex owns the thing. He's got a lot of power. He's the owner, but you don't see him. He's invisible. He's on a yacht, somewhere in a lagoon, somewhere, whatever. Maybe he's got a private island, private lagoon, private island. You don't even see him. He's never around. You don't see him. Okay. At the entertainment complex, you got the main gate, and you got a doorman. Now, the doorman you do see. You see the doorman. Let's say he's kind of braggadocio, all very important. I do this, I go here, waving his parking wand or whatever, checking people's IDs. Let's say he's very kind of important, very, very important kind of guy, right? The question is, who has more power? The doorman you see, or the invisible owner on the yacht? So think about the former as like the force of your unconscious versus your conscious, whereby in your conscious attitude, you're kind of like that doorman, braggadocio like that. And so the owner of the complex has a lot of power, like the iceberg metaphor. Not the doorman guy. But we think the doorman guy runs everything. No, the invisible guy runs everything. But the doorman guy thinks, so we think like the doorman guy, we run everything. No, the invisible stuff, the unconscious stuff. Okay, the iceberg metaphor runs it. So that's in the body, that's memories in the body. It's in the amygdala, it's in the stem, whatever. The limbic system like that. It's got a memory system. It's the unthought known. It's known, but we can't be conscious of it. So this idea is considered humanity's third narcissistic injury. What? You mean I don't have this? You mean the doorman's not the owner of the thing? No, the doorman's just the doorman. The owner's on a yacht. Oh, but the doorman thought he owned it all, or something. Or we think we think the way a doorman might think. If the doorman thought he owned it all, we think like that. We would think like that. No, we don't own the thing. Like the doorman doesn't own the thing. We don't own the thing. You mean the doorman doesn't own it all? No, the guy in the yacht in the lagoon owns it all. So that's for us. Our unconscious has the power. Our unconscious drives things, calls the shots. Okay, makes us repeat, makes us chase for symbolic mother, makes us find proxies to shame, so we don't know that we're shaming ourselves. Makes us be loyal to the mother. Okay, the unconscious is doing all this. That has all the power like this. Oh my God! You mean we're not master in our own house? You mean? You don't even have a boat. You got to first build the Noah's boat. The boat, you got to first build the both and mind. If you don't have a both and mind, or the Jane mind, then the guy in the lagoon is calling all the shots. How are we doing here? 2:30. Let's check the battery here. Oh, today's one of the luckier days. I didn't have too many. Oh no! I should. Just when I said that, I got an interruption. I was just about to say I didn't have any interruptions, and I looked forward. There it is, right there. Okay, I'm gonna move in a minute because there's a really distracting, annoying kind of activity just beside me there. Let's see, what's the time here? 40% battery, and what is it? 5:04. So it's got about a good half an hour of light here. Maybe I can move my chair back or something. Yeah, let me move my chair a bit closer. Let's try this real quick. Okay, we read through the quotes, yeah. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to read these quotes, see if there's one that's okay, sort of okay at least, and just use it as a springboard, a prompt to free associate with. After reading the quote, just see what thoughts spring to mind on your own end. Or say to yourself, what does this quote remind me of? What does this quote suggest to me? And if a feeling comes up, validate the feeling. I must have a very good reason for feeling this. Welcome the feeling like an honored guest. Like an honored guest. The famous poet, the Guest House poem. So welcome your feelings. And if you're lucky, it does a wave thing. So ride the wave like a surfer rides the wave. Ride your feeling. Be a surfer. Be an emotional surfer. Ride the wave through to its resolution. That's called constructive allowing. Constructive feeling. Sometimes we can say, what's the hardest thing about this feeling or sensation? So if it's a feeling, name the feeling. If it's the visceral stuff, then name it as the visceral stuff. Okay, sweating, irregular, the speed of your heartbeats being irregular between the beats. So notice that. What's the hardest thing about that? Or the breathing is shallow. What's the most painful thing about that? Or what's the scariest thing about that, or whatever? So just see what comes to mind like that. Just free associate. So when a sensation comes up called anxiety in the body somewhere, okay, I must have a very good reason for having this visceral sensation, this anxiety symptom, and what's the hardest thing about it? If it's like a feeling, from the feeling self, sadness or forlorn or a feeling badly that you did something and you feel badly about it, that's called regret. Pharaoh, that's called regret. Ain't Life a Brook? Pharaoh is one of our musical voices on our soundtrack, the folk singer Pharaoh. One of her songs is called Ain't Life a Brook. Very good song, yeah. In one of the concerts, she introduces the song. She says that in there. You know you had a good thing and you lost it. That's called regret. Let's just stay here then. A little awkward here, but the things beside me a little awkward. But let's maybe wrap it up here. I'm feeling a little lazy. How was today's video? Was today's video interesting in any way? I thought yesterday's wasn't bad at the Swan Place. Today wasn't so bad, I thought. I didn't cover my usual foundational material that I normally do in other videos. I jumped into a follow-up of the film Bob's Enlarged Amygdala, Bob and His Enlarged Amygdala. The featured song in that was James Brown's song, Out of Sight, Out of Sight. That girl's so beautiful. She's out of sight, man. She's out of sight, man. That's cool, man. Out of sight, man. That's out of sight, man. That's cool, man. Out of sight. So when Bob healed his soul, the idea was to play the soul man, Mr. James Brown. So he was dancing like James Brown. He's got back his soul, i.e. he's James Brown. Like James Brown, he can be like James Brown. He's got his soul, because people call James Brown the soul man or something. So he had no soul before. He did the therapy, got back his soul, i.e. his beingness. When we say soul, we mean beingness, your sense of beingness, embodiment. That's the soul, right? Your doing is kind of like the spirit. Your beingness is like the soul. Soul, spirit, like the yin yang. Feminine, masculine. Midnight Blue, Cherry Red, says Lou Gramm in his song. So what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 7. So see if one of these 7 is of interest. Email it to yourself. If not, then that's okay. Maybe in the next video. Maybe in the next video there'll be something. Maybe you might find 2 quotes in the next video. Just hopefully there's one. We're looking for one each time. Like tomorrow, for example. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue on basic fault. Here's the first. The first one's good. In Fairbairn's conception, the cause of the basic fault is the failure of the mother to conceive her child by convince. Again, in William Fairbairn's conception, the cause of the basic fault is the failure of the mother to convince her child by spontaneous and genuine expressions of affection that he or she is loved as a person. Baby, you're a human being. You're a person, baby. If that's missing, enter the basic fault. Okay, tomorrow we'll do more. We'll do more on the basic fault. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna, and then after that, let's see what's after that. Okay, we got some general kind of quotes. Okay. Okay, the scapegoating topic's coming up. In the TV show Gidget, a book, they made reference to a book called Communication, the Social Matrix of Modern Culture. It's based on a book called Communication, the Social Matrix of Psychiatry. They didn't want to use that word, so they just changed it. So that author, we have a few quotes from that author, this Ruresh guy. Okay, one about communication. Well, marriage and communication. So we know this, right? The success in marriage is going to depend on how you communicate. We know that. Okay, what's coming up? I know how I feel. I want to know why I feel it, says the Gidget Show. Okay, one from Janoff. He's a good writer. Arthur Janoff. These are sort of some miscellaneous ones. Okay. One about the as-if personality. One about alexithymia. One about the Hercules story. Yeah, okay. Some Nubian proverbs are coming up. Okay, and then we're going to catch up. So we're catching up here, yeah, we're catching up. I wanna keep on working on this, trying to interpret that film, Bob and His Enlarged Amygdala. When I discussed Inside Out 2, I had to go over it a few times. I think I finally got it down, Inside Out 2. The film of the year for 2024, Inside Out 2. Considered to be possibly the #1 best-selling animated film of all time, Inside Out 2. So 2840 starts us off, TQ 2840, and there have been numerous updates during the past 7 months, yeah. That film came out in June of 2024, and I've been talking about it. So now I want to kind of tackle or see if we can bring up the benefits of that film. Make conscious the benefits that are hidden. It's a hidden gem, so let's bring up the gem, the shine of the gem, and make it conscious. So Bob and his enlarged amygdala. Yeah. There's no therapy process. They just did some silly little thing where he had a brain operation. But that's the soul surgery. So he had brain surgery. As it should be soul surgery, open soul surgery. We have a song. Yeah, we have a song about that. Open soul surgery. Should we play it? By the classic rock band Prism. Well, it's by April Wine, but it's not well known by April Wine. But when Prism, when Ron Tabak of Prism sang it, it became a bit of a hit. Open soul surgery. Just leave it there. So we don't see Bob engaging in any kind of metaphorical soul surgery with the soul doctor. The doctor in that film was like a regular medical doctor kind of thing. But it should. So that film needs a huge update. That film needs to be redone. But it's a good prompt. I think that film should inspire people. It should inspire others. Instead, it's getting criticized and clamped down. No, let it inspire people. Jesus Christ, like it's kind of like somebody discovers something. Well, don't bury it. Like you use it to help raise consciousness. Because then people will know why they're prejudiced. That there was trauma. Mother failed them, caused trauma. The fear that in the film they kept saying that the fear threshold. Like any little thing sets him off, right? Any little difference, anything out of his expectation, anything out of his OCD world, controlling kind of thing, okay, that triggers the rage that he felt when the mother didn't meet his needs, and the picture is a scary kind of picture. That's why when someone is a little different in the present, he flies that picture onto them and says they're dangerous they are. And you can see him say these ridiculous, wild, ridiculous, crazy things. And they're bombastic. And to preserve your loyalty to the mother, what you do is, hey, Cortex, give me some rationalizations. Give me some flim-flammery. Give me some rhetoric. Give me some propaganda. Give me some tricks. Give me some lies. Make it convincing. Come on, Cortex. Dig it up. to repress, to make yourself believe and trick yourself to believe. Now you want to believe it's out. That's externalized to protect your mother. If you believe, if you can't believe your mother hurt you, then you need to believe someone else is dangerous. So prejudice means you're angry at your mother. Anybody who's engaged in this kind of hate rhetoric, okay, that's code for they're still angry at their mother and they don't want to know him. They can't face it. You can't handle the truth. That famous clip. They can't handle the truth yet. You gotta be a detective first. You gotta calm down a little bit and be a detective first. So finding someone you can work with to do it. The therapy process calms you down. But don't expect any person in the present, or don't use any person in the present to be the missing symbiotic self-object, symbiotic object, fusional object, narcissistic fusional object for the past. That's the problem. If you look for that, you're going to be wildly disappointed. That's not how therapy works. Therapy is about helping you to be more conscious. So you got to go in with that kind of attitude, with that kind of spirit. In fact, if a therapist does try to step into that, you run for the hills. You know, like don't. They're really deluded like that, because they're turning things around. They want you to feed them. You see, if they're doing that. See, most likely, I would say, chances are, Mr. Coat and company are probably using people to get fed for themselves. They want to feel important, so they create this dependency. Some mothers force dependency on their child. Some mothers hurt their children to make them dependent. If the child's dependent and helpless, then the mother always feels important, always feels needed. I have a need to be needed. I have a need to be needed so I can feel important. Baby, I want you to be helpless so you'll always need me. Come to me and I feel important. I feel important. You need me. But you need me. Oh, good, you need me. They want this helplessness in their children so they always can feel needed. If the mother feels needed, she feels important. Okay? She feels she has some identity, she feels important, she got power over, she's an agent, she's active, she's got narcissism, it's about her, she's the center, she's entitled, she's center stage. So she manufactures this by setting it up like that, by hurting the baby to set it up like that. I think I need to, let's move over to the side for a bit, or just close it. Oh, it's really getting busier. It's all over the place. I got people. As the afternoon, later in the afternoon, the later in the afternoon it gets, the more people fill in the park. What's the time? Yeah, let's see. How is it again? 5:22, 40%. I'm tempted just to leave it here, eh? What do you say? Just leave it here? Any final thoughts on Bob and his enlarged amygdala? Yeah, there was some crude jokes in there, like the one about the cattle prodding. That's too much. See, that's a bit too far, I think. But one of the factors that makes people develop an enlarged amygdala is all the fear, hate rhetoric on the TV, right? So it turns people into dumb animals. So Bob was there like a dumb animal. Come on, dumb animal, with the cattle thing. So that was a crude kind of joke. That was a little too much, I think. All of the jokes are too much. They're all like that. But you see, but to grab your attention, I guess, to make the point, I guess, I don't know. The funniest thing in the show, I think, was the lady, the German doctor. Oh my goodness. So the regular doctor called in the German doctor to help out, explain things. She was hilarious. And in the interview, that lady who played it said she really wanted to help in this role. Like, in that interview, in the article, in the newspaper article, some people were very enthusiastic to participate in this consciousness raising kind of thing. And some people said they're afraid of it. But that woman who played the German doctor, she said, "Oh, I want to do this. Oh, give me this role. I love it." She said. So she went over. She also went way over the top. So she also had EAS. When she set off, she would regress into into. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I should move here. Let me move over a bit. Yeah, let's move over to the side. Let's make some space for the kids here. Hold on a second. Maybe I'll just, let's just go the other, okay, let's just do that. Let's go to the, I'll just go, It's busy everywhere, right? We're still recording now. Yeah, so the soul surgery song, because some people used to call talking cure therapy as soul doctors. So sometimes shrinks are referred to as soul doctors, right? So he wants a soul surgeon, but he's desperate. He needs open. It's ironic about that singer because he did have a serious problem in his personal life. So he was maybe crying for love with that song. Oh, I've got some, yeah, hang on. Hey, hang on there, birds. I've got some, let me go to a grassy spot here. Hold on a second. I didn't bring too much this time, but I have a few leftover little crumbs for the birds there. Hold on a second. I'm going to dig it up. Oh, just sit here. Yeah, okay, let's just stay here then. All right. Let's feed the pigeons. Let's take a pigeon break. Hold on a second. Hey, birds. Oh, look how quickly they come, huh? Oh no! Oh really? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Okay. Thanks for telling me. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. You're not allowed to feed the pigeons here. I didn't know that. Okay, hold a sec. All right, sorry, birds, huh? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's finish it up here. Any final thoughts here? Yeah, Bob and his enlarged amygdala on YouTube. It got uploaded, I think, 8 years ago. Only 1,700 views on it. Can you believe it? Oh, so we're talking about the German doctor, yeah. She ended up playing the funniest part of it all, but it was way over the top. It was a caricature kind of thing. What else? They poked fun about how to pronounce amygdala. Everybody was mispronouncing amygdala. You know? I think that was on purpose to make people to have an excuse to use the term often. You know, amygdala. Oh, sorry, birds. My goodness. Well, that's the last time I'll bring in crumbs for them. Actually, it's cat food. I bought some cat food for them. They love it, huh? Maybe they're only meant to eat the worms or the bugs or something. Right? Maybe I'm upsetting the ecology here if they eat, if you bring in outside food, right? Then there'd be, if the birds are here to eat the bugs and the mosquitoes or something. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I did see other people feeding them, so I thought it was okay. Huh? Oh my God! Oh, there's a new one. Oh, there's a new stray cat. Oh, I can't even feed the stray cats. Okay, forget that. Oh, well, I've never seen this one before. They've got a few stray cats in this park. I've never seen this one before. I don't know how he's going to react to me. Let's see. You know, I've got cat food, but I don't know if I'm allowed to feed you. Jeez. I gotta ask the guard if I'm allowed to feed you or not. Jeez. Maybe let me just let's just quickly let me give you a little bit. Come on. It's gotta be okay for the cats, right? Is it? Hey, hang in there. Give me a minute. Yeah, here you go. This is actually cat food. Let's see if you like it. Do you like it or not? I don't know. Let's see. Do you like it? No, you don't, eh? Look at that. Oh, all right. Oh, he does like it. All right. Okay, this will be our little secret cat. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, that'll be it then, eh? Alright. It'd be nice to end up on a joke or something. Let me try one more move. Hold on a second. I guess a part of me wants to keep on communicating with my imaginary, with any possible audience. At the time of posting, it's an imaginary audience, but I hope that in the future, people might benefit from this collection. So if anybody wants the complete collection, print it out. This collection resembles an 8-volume encyclopedia. It's a massive file, 10,000 quotes. For the price of you-know-what, you can get a PDF file for it. It's an incredible offering. Nothing like it out there at all. Nothing like it out there. Not even close. Not even partially close. The best dictionary entry from LaPonche and Pontalus's dictionary of terms called The Language of Psychoanalysis. We have it in our collection. The few from Gregory Bauer from his decades-old book entitled Wit and Wisdom in Dynamic Psychotherapy. We have it in our collection, and so on. So I'm trying to incorporate the best of the best out there and have it at one source like that. And we have a psychologically minded film and TV show quotes. Go to 2599 Route 66. Some of the best quotes in our collection come from that classic show, Route 66. The albatross, the third side of the coin, the mask one. Those are great quotes. From the Drop Dead Diva show, there's a line in there. The law is the wisdom of the ages wrapped in the opinion of the moment. Apply that to yourself, like you're on a personal level. From the Harry's Law legal comedy, one man had a midlife moment. His antics didn't work. He said to himself, I wonder what's worse, to realize you're no longer who you are, or to realize that you still are what you've always been. The Heck Ramsey Show, a couple of quotes from Heck Ramsey, the guy from Richard Boone, starring Richard Boone, and a sprinkling of quotes from a variety of shows, like one from Happy Days, one from Barney Miller, one from WKRP in Cincinnati, and so on, right? We're having a lot of good quotes from the Twilight Zone in our collection. Recently, a couple from the Gidget Show, and a newly added one is from Room 222, the high school teaching comedy drama. Room 222, very good show, yeah. It's a very good kind of a thinking man's kind of show. Very good script writing, good episodes, great cast. You got the four main characters: the head teacher, the super teacher, his girlfriend, the principal is a bit of a comedian, and you got the student teacher there. Room 222, yeah. Oh my God, that show will bring up dreams. I think I had a dream once from that show, yeah. you might like project onto what you see in the show and include it into your unconscious's attempt to piece together something, to bring a report card to you, a letter to you. So dreams are like report cards to you, like letters to you. If your soul sends you a letter, don't you want to receive it, kind of thing. So that's where I was sitting before, that pyramid there, the little pyramid. I've been using that pyramid as a prompt. That pyramid thing over there. Okay, we can use that as a springboard to discuss therapy. Masterson's axiom also has 3 points. Self-active. Oh, no smoke. That's a no smoking. Okay, smoking, something to make me feel better, right? Self-activation triggers abandonment depression, which might lead to smoking, the defense, the triangle, right? But you can't smoke here. Self-activation triggers abandonment depression, which leads to defense. 3 points on a triangle.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am very sorry. No smoking in the park. Please don't keep it clean. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am very sorry. No smoking in the park. Please don't keep it clean. Thank you very much.
Yeah, another famous triangle is we have a pattern in our life, a repetitive pattern. When did it begin? And to see a live here and now example of it. 3 points. Pattern, when it began, and a current live example in the moment. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You have this pattern. You learned it back then, and that's why you're doing this now. Okay, the wish and the fear and the compromise, right? That's a classic one. You had a need, pain, Okay, the body bears the burden. That's the compromise. The conversion or the compromise or the somatization. You had a need for mother's love, there's pain. Now what? Need, pain, what's the compromise? Well, the body's gonna hold it. That's when it's within. Or the compromise might be, okay, prejudice. So prejudice is also an attempt to deal with the wish and the fear conflict, inner conflict. So prejudice, of course, comes from an inner conflict which you haven't processed, which one hasn't processed. Open soul surgery. Busy today, my goodness. I guess I'll just wrap it up here. If you want to hear our theme song, go to the end of last video. In the little photo booth in the mall there, I played our theme song, which is Katja Epstein's German cover of the song Windmills of the Mind. Sometimes I'm just on the verge of closing the video and something interrupts her. Let's try that again. Okay, if you want to hear our theme song, go to the end of yesterday's video. And I'll see you in the next video. For the love of narrative medicine, thanks very much. We'll continue on the topic of the basic fault or abandonment syndrome or abandonment neurosis. Okay, or preoedipal trauma, this eerie feeling that there's some kind of defect, some kind of fault took place, i.e. the oneness with the mother was missing, and that's a huge gap like that, and that's a huge and the effects of that influences us. It may enlarge the amygdala, and if the amygdala is too enlarged or too flared up or too stimulated or something, or too reactive or something, then you're always seeing anything that you don't know as your mother who's hurting you, and you have prejudice by that. Okay, we'll update things here. We got 62 topics on the go, so we'll update can continue to add quotes on our various topics. Maybe at some point there really needs to be a new thread on the so-called biological. It's out of my zone, that kind of thing. That's why I want to interview Mr. Cozzolino. Mr. Cozzolino, are you out there? Are you out there, Mr. Cozzolino? I think you're a clear presenter. I'd like to bring out your gems and wisdom, and I'd like to learn myself more about the amygdala. And hope maybe one day there'll be a band on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. Give a warm welcome. Making their debut. Please welcome. Give it up for the Amygdalas. and their songs would be about the amygdala, right? So in other words, what that band, the Amygdaloids, tried to do in amateur form, let's take that and professionalize it. What that film, Bob and his enlarged amygdala, tried to do, let's make that a major film and professionalize it, you know? So we got little clues like that. Submitted for your consideration. Thanks very much. See you next time.